is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. UK investigators to arrive next week. Police Commissioner Fernandez says they will oversee aspects of the police corruption investigation. The police investigating the country's latest murder, this time in Grand Bahama. And the government asks IRCA to intervene in the GBPC rate increase dispute. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Of the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, August 8th, 2024. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be here. Also this morning, it is DQ Miracle Treat Day. We've got the details for what you need to know about today. And later in business, it's a hot topic. We've got the pros and the cons from different perspectives. That's all ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from international headlines this morning. In the overnight, Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez says investigators from the United Kingdom will travel to the Bahamas next week to oversee aspects of the force's investigation into Chief Superintendent Michael Johnson. Fernandez saying in a statement last night that the police force has taken significant steps to ensure a thorough and impartial investigation into the serious allegations. But he said, quote, in cooperation with our international partners, we have forwarded files in relation to the case to the UK National Crime Agency, known as the NCA, to aid in the investigation. That the involvement of senior NCA officials in the matter, with the head of NCA's anti-corruption unit, John Michael McKeon, and a senior investigator, Andrew John Black, arriving in the Bahamas from the UK on August 14th. They're going to personally oversee aspects of the investigation, and they're scheduled to depart on August 17th. Fernandez's statement coming hours after former Prime Minister Dr. Minnis called the force's investigation, quote, woefully insufficient. Minnis saying the police force cannot lead an investigation into the police force. He said, quote, for its own credibility, standing in the country, and need for reform, the RBPF should welcome a more open and thorough investigation by an independent group with no potential conflicts of interest. He also called on Prime Minister Philip Davis to, quote, ensure more serious steps to comprehensively investigate the force. A man killed early Wednesday morning in a double shooting outside a Grand Bahama nightclub. The murder is the island's fourth so far this year. Police say around 1 a.m. they received reports of a shooting at a club on East Sunrise Highway. Officers found two men suffering from multiple gunshot wounds in their upper bodies, and they were taken to the Rand Memorial Hospital. Assistant Commissioner of Police Shanton Knowles said yesterday that one man was in police custody. Knowles says the man in custody is no stranger to police, noting that he was being electronically monitored, but that he'd removed his device. She said that he'd been on bail for firearm-related matters and was being electronically monitored before he cut off the device. Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Michael Darville, a former Grand Bahama MP, Grand Bahama minister, says he and MP says that the Grand Bahama Power Company needs to, quote, back off after it notified customers of its decision to seek a rate increase. Darville telling reporters yesterday, quote, Grand Bahama can take this particular increase at this time, and we're asking the power company to back off to ensure that the residents of Grand Bahama at least catch themselves before we talk about another increase. In a statement the day before, GBPC said it filed a rate plan proposal with the Grand Bahama Port Authority requesting an increase in its base rates by 6.3% for all customers, which it claimed is below the Bahamas' inflation rate over the past several years of 7.3%. Meanwhile, Minister of Energy and Transport JoBeth Colby Davis has written a letter to IRCA, the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority, expressing her, quote, unequivocal objection to the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the GBPC's increase and actions. In a statement, Colby Davis said the port's stance is in direct contravention of the Electricity Act, which clearly designates a regulatory body responsible for overseeing the energy sector throughout the Bahamas. She said, quote, it not only breaches our established legal framework, but also threatens the government's ongoing efforts to reduce energy costs for all Bahamians. The ministry has called on IRCA to enforce stringent compliance with the Electricity Act and to halt any rate increases that have not undergone proper regulatory review. Colby Davis said it is important for all stakeholders to adhere to the laws meant to safeguard the interests of the Bahamian people. She said, quote, we trust that IRCA will take swift and decisive action to address this issue and uphold the rule of law within our energy sector. And a judge set bail at $15,000 for a man accused of murder and armed robbery. 36-year-old Emil Hepburn has been in custody since last April. He appeared before Justice Neil Brathwaite for his bail decision yesterday. Prosecutors allege that Hepburn and another person are responsible for the fatal shooting of Leroy Bethel in Hatchet Bay, Eleuthera. Hepburn is also accused of the robbing of Ashton Petty of a chain at gunpoint on April 8th. If Hepburn meets the conditions of bail, he'll be fitted with an ankle bracelet before his release from custody. He's also required to sign in at a police station. Meanwhile, Brathwaite also denied bail for Trevar Taylor. He's accused of the murder of Pedrito Mejas and the attempted murder of Dion Exelan. The alleged victims were driving in Flamingo Gardens when they were accosted by gunmen who opened fire on them. Overseas, authorities found Islamic State group and Al-Qaeda material at the home of the second and final suspect in a foiled plot to attack a now-canceled Taylor Swift show in Austria. No other suspects are being sought after the two were arrested, according to the Interior Minister today in Vienna. Austrian security authorities said the second suspect, a 17-year-old Austrian citizen with Turkish and Croatian roots, was arrested by special police forces near the stadium where the concerts were supposed to take place this week. A 19-year-old Austrian had also been arrested. The suspect's names not released in line with Austrian privacy rules. Austrian security officials allege the two men wanted to commit an attack outside the stadium, killing as many people as possible using knives or self-made explosives. They told reporters at a press conference in Vienna that the main suspect, a 19-year-old Austrian with North Macedonian roots, fully confessed his attack plans. They said he was, quote, clearly radicalized in the direction of the Islamic State and thinks it's right to kill infidels. The second suspect was employed a few days ago by a facility company providing services at the venue during the concerts. Investigators say they found extensive material related to the Islamic State group and Al-Qaeda at his home. The cancellations of 3 sold-out concerts this week devastated Taylor Swift fans, known as Swifties, across the globe, many of whom had dropped thousands of euros on travel and lodging in Austria's expensive capital for the sold-out Eras Tour shows scheduled for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The stadium, which was scheduled to take place, sat empty this morning aside from media filming outside. And Bangladesh next leader, Muhammad Yunus, arriving home today from an overseas trip and will take office later in the day as he looks to restore calm and rebuild the country following an uprising that ended the 15-year increasingly autocratic rule of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Yunus landed at Dhaka's Hazrat Shangri-La International Airport and was welcomed by the country's military chief, who was flanked by Navy and Air Force heads. Some of the student leaders who led the uprising against Hasina were also present at the airport to welcome him. They had earlier proposed Yunus as interim leader to the country's figurehead president, who is currently acting as the chief executive under the Constitution. In his first comments after his arrival, he told a news briefing that his priority would be to restore order. He urged all to stop the violence and promised not to resort to any repressive measures against anyone. And forensic authorities in the Dominican Republic working to identify the remains of at least 14 mostly decomposed bodies found on an abandoned vessel 10 nautical miles off its northern coast. The Dominican Republic Navy said the 14 skeletons appeared to belong to individuals from Senegal and Mauritania, according to the documentation found next to the bodies. Authorities are also working to determine the cause and time of the deaths and whether 12 packages of a substance found on the boat contained illicit drugs, presumably cocaine or heroin. Cell phones and geolocation devices were also found on the boat. The Atlantic route from West Africa to the European Union territory is one of the most dangerous in the world. Boats that miss their destination can be swept away by Atlantic trade winds and currents from east to west, drifting for months. Migrants aboard often die from dehydration and malnutrition. Others have also been known to jump into the ocean out of desperation. And the world is falling well short of a promise made by global climate talks last year to triple the amount of wind power, according to a report by an energy think tank released today. Last December, countries of the UN COP28 climate conference committed to tripling all renewable energy by 2030. Wind power specifically must triple to achieve that, according to the International Energy Agency and others. Examining national targets set by 70 countries that account for 99% of existing wind power, Ember, an energy nonprofit based in London, projects that over the next 60 years, wind power will double, not triple, compared to the 2022 baseline. The report looked at wind turbines at both offshore and onshore. Wind often blows hardest when the sun is not high in the sky, making it a good complement to solar energy in efforts to make clean energy 24 hours per day. The report also measured countries' progress towards their own goals. The U.S. ranked worst on this list, falling 100 gigawatts short, or enough to power more than 30 million homes. The target used for the U.S. comes from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, part of the Energy Department. The second biggest gap between national targets and wind projects in development was India at more than 30 gigawatts. Despite having considerable wind potential, only 4% of electricity in India comes from wind. Ranking best by this measure were Brazil and Finland, which are on track to exceed their wind targets by 15 and 11 gigawatts respectively. They were among just 10 countries due to surpass their goals. 7 of the 10 were in Europe, including Turkey. In sports, things getting exciting in Paris. One Bahamian in action already for the day. For the latest on what happened, here's our report from our man in Paris at the Olympics, Sheldon Longley.
Good day, Bahamas. This is Sheldon Longley coming to you from the games of the 33rd Olympiad here in Paris, France. Just one athlete in competition for the Bahamas today. That was Tanisha Cartwright in the repechage rounds of the women's 100-meter hurdles. Unfortunately for her, it was not a good race. She clipped the second hurdle, then went on and clipped this third hurdle, and that took her out of the running completely. She finished 7th in that heat in 13.45 seconds. Just the top two moved on to the semifinals. So it wasn't a good Olympics for Tanisha, but she had a very long season, collegiate running indoors and outdoors. Came here to the Olympics trying to make a good impression. But unfortunately for her, it was not a good running at it. She finished 7th in that heat, 13.45 seconds, and she will not move on to the semifinals. Just two Bahamians left to compete. That's Devon Charlton and Charisma Taylor. They will both run in the semifinals of the women's 100-meter hurdles tomorrow. That will come your way like around 12:05 p.m. here in Paris, which will be very early in the Bahamas, like around 6:05 a.m. in the Bahamas Friday morning. Hopefully they can move on to the final. The top two finishers in each semifinal heat in the next two fastest times will move on to the final. So like I said, Tanisha Cartwright finishing 7th in the heat today, 13.45 seconds, not a good run for her. She will not move on to the semifinals. And just two more Bahamians to go, Devon Charlton and Charisma Taylor in the semifinals of the women's 100-meter hurdles tomorrow. This is Sheldon Longley coming to you live from the games of the 33rd Olympiad in Paris, France.
Thank you, Sheldon. And from the NFL, the debate about whether the league will expand the regular season once again seems to have been resolved. And now it's just a matter of how soon the NFL will add an 18th game. Commissioner Roger Goodell has talked openly about it, and Union Chief Lloyd Howell recently told the Washington Post that the NFL Players Association is open to doing it before the current collective bargaining agreement expires after the 2030 season, and players seem resigned to the inevitability, no matter how they might personally feel. The NFL has desired adding more games for years, along with the increase in lucrative national television windows. The league increased the regular season from 14 games to 16 in 1978 and kept it there for decades. But Goodell and the owners pushed for a 17th game in the latest CBA negotiations, leading to the 2021 season, and aren't content stopping there, with Goodell saying in the spring that going to 18 games remains a priority as long as it can be done without significantly impacting player safety. Adding another game to the season would add more broadcast windows. It also could push the Super Bowl to President's Day weekend with a federal holiday the day after the game. That would either require not adding a second bye week, which most players said they would need to play an extra game, or moving the start of the season to Labor Day weekend, which the NFL has avoided since the 2000 season. While moving the Super Bowl to a long holiday weekend might have appealed to many fans who wouldn't have to go to work the next day, it could turn an NFL season into a 7-month marathon from the start of training camp to the final game. The NFL is getting paid more than $113 billion over 11 years for its broadcast rights as the most valuable television property. Of the 100 most watched TV broadcasts in 2023, 93 were NFL games, up from 61 in 2018. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather, your first good weather, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 8:30 this morning for Mayaguana and the Turks and Caicos Islands. The severe weather watch is also in effect for, the thunderstorm warning is in effect for West Caicos, Providenciales, and North Caicos, and the severe weather watch in effect for the remainder of the Turks and Caicos Islands. The Department of Meteorology says that their satellite imagery depicting a convective line of showers and thunderstorms moving towards and across these areas, and that these showers and thunderstorms are associated with deep tropical moisture and induced troughing from the outer bands of Tropical Storm Debbie, which is currently moving inland over South Carolina. Some of these showers will be locally heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times, causing gusty winds, dangerous lightning, heavy downpours, hail, and possible waterspout or tornado activity. Localized flooding possible during the passage of these storms. Again, that thunderstorm warning in effect until 8:30 this morning. So this is, again, all as a result of the outer bands from Debbie, a swath of deep moisture moving across the Bahamas, coupled with weakening ridging patterns due to the influence of Debbie. That's going to keep an unstable weather pattern across the country today. This will elevate the risk of extended periods of showers and thunderstorms. And residents in the northwest Bahamas are being asked to remain alert due to the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms expected to move through the area in rain bands associated with this system. And there is the potential for localized flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas during heavy and prolonged rainfall events across all areas today. Also, beachgoers should exercise caution in the extreme northwest Bahamas and Atlantic exposures due to the moderate risk of rip currents. So, a lot going on. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly cloudy to cloudy conditions with a few breaks, warm and humid with widely scattered showers and a few isolated thunderstorms. Expect mostly cloudy conditions with more widespread showers and thunderstorms, with showers becoming heavier and thunderstorms more severe by late morning, early afternoon. Small craft caution in effect for the northern Atlantic waters of the extreme northwest Bahamas. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures today, we're looking at highs getting up to around 89 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
It's a Scotia Plan Loan Summer. With Scotiabank, you can chase your summer vacation, swing into your home renovation, and slide on back to school with ease. Apply for your Scotia Plan loan and benefit from competitive rates, flexible loan terms, and no payments for up to 2 months. Take off your to-do list this summer and apply for a Scotia Plan loan today.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Now let me see now. 326 EPIC. Hello? This Epic Eckert battery. This Miss Beulah from around the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326 EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
The Guardian Media Group has your ticket to Paris.
On your marks, get set, go!
Join the Guardian Media Group, Star 106 Hits, Guardian Radio 96.9, and Hot 91 FM. And follow Team Bahamas from paradise to Paris. Live comprehensive updates on Team Bahamas every day during the 2024 Summer Olympics. We are your ticket to Paris. Nassau Guardian Sports Editor Sheldon Longley will be trackside, bringing you closest to our athletes in their quest for gold. From paradise to Paris. The 2024 Summer Olympics live updates brought to you by gold sponsors, the Bahamas Ministry of Tourism, Jimmy Wines and Spirits, distributors of refreshing Sands beer, silver sponsor Executive Motors, and the bronze sponsors Hertz Rent-A-Car, Nagico Insurance, Bay Street Garage, Nassau Motors, your Chevy and Honda dealers, and New Life Natural. Let the games begin.
Stephen Gardner alongside 100-meter hurdler Devon Charlton.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with you. Chester Robards will be joining us in just a moment. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com. Smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Again, and Chester will be joining us in a moment. Also this morning, we are going to be talking about Miracle Treat Day, Dairy Queen Miracle Treat Day. That's today, folks. And if you don't know what this is about, we'll give you all the details. But today's your day to make a contribution to a very, very good cause. And later in business, everybody's talking about it, a 4-day work week. The idea being floated around again. What would this mean? And is it possible? Do you need everybody on board for this? If you wanted to do it as a company, isn't it up to you? We're going to talk about all of that this morning. That's later in business. But right now, let's get into what else is in the news. And Chester Robards joining us on Thursday.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
All right. So, hey, if you're just waking up and you missed what happened in Paris earlier, Denisha Cartwright in the repechage for the 100-meter hurdles, women's hurdles. And, oh, man, Chester, I'm sure you were asleep, right?
I was definitely asleep.
Yes. Well, I've been up since 4. And You should have seen her start. It was amazing. She was going to win that race, but then she hit the second hurdle, and and she just couldn't recover.
Wow.
Couldn't recover, and everybody passed her by. Coming in seventh, I believe. Sheldon said in his report just now from Paris. But, oh, man. And even the NBC commentators were like, wow, she had such a great start. And, but, yeah, once you hit these hurdles, that's it.
Yeah.
But clearly her future is very bright, and we know we're expecting great things from Tanisha Cartwright in the future. But, of course...
She didn't tumble, though. She just hit it.
No, but it was a hard hit, it looked like, and yeah, she just couldn't get her legs right after that. And,
broke her stride.
Yeah. Boy, that was tough. But of course, we still have Devin Charlton and Charisma Taylor, who are going to the semifinals. That's going to be tomorrow, and we're hoping both will make it to the final, which will be on Saturday for the 100-meter hurdles. Our last great hopes there, but we're wishing them all the best. So, but hey, it has been very exciting, these Olympics. Lots of drama and lots of twists and turns and surprises, and some things going according to what everybody thought. But that's how it is. But it's been great. It's been great so far. Hey, if you saw the race this morning, let's get your reaction to it. 323-325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Yeah. And there's a whole lot more in today's Nassau Guardian in the sports section about how Team Bahamas has been doing so far. And we've been updating you quite a bit about it here on the radio, but you can read more about it in today's Guardian sports section. All right, so before we get into some other stuff in the news, this came out this week, and not many people have been talking about it, but I think people need to be aware. We certainly get a lot of attention. It gets a lot of attention from the local media when countries issue advisories about us, but when we issue advisories about countries, well, why does that go under the table? I don't understand it. Like, nobody...
Yeah.
We're warning our citizens to be careful. And it's like...
And lots of people travel to the UK.
Right. But I don't know. Anyway, so the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has issued an advisory to Bahamian residents and visitors in the United Kingdom. And this came out a few days ago. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs takes note with concern of the recent spate of protests and riots in major cities and towns in the United Kingdom in the wake of several knife attacks and the deaths of 3 young girls in Southport, Merseyside, on Monday, the 29th of July, 2024. The ministry also notes the uptick in attacks perpetrated against persons of certain racial, religious, and ethnic backgrounds. Bahamians who reside in cities and towns in the United Kingdom impacted by attacks, violence, and public disorder are urged to take all necessary precautions to remain safe. This includes monitoring and following the authorities. The Bahamas government prioritizes the safety and security of all Bahamians in the United Kingdom, including Bahamian students and visitors. The ministry closely monitors the situation and has been in direct contact with the Bahamas High Commission in London, which stands ready to provide emergency consular assistance. The ministry has also been in contact with the British High Commission here in Nassau, and the ministry is asking all Bahamians to register as well. So, yeah, if you've been following the story, it's just been very unusual stuff happening in Europe. Well, interesting and bizarre things happening in Europe. The young girls were killed at a Taylor Swift themed dance party. And just horrific. They were stabbed to death, and others were left in critical condition as a result of that. And as you heard in the overnight a few minutes ago, some extremists were planning on attacking folks that were scheduled to attend a Taylor Swift concert today, for the next 3 days, in Vienna, Austria. And they've had to cancel those concerts. and for out of safety concerns. But they've arrested 2 people in connection with that, 19 and 17-year-old Austrians, but who've been radicalized. So there's a lot of unusual things going on, and Bahamians are everywhere and need to be paying attention to this. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right, so the big headlines in the papers today. We've been talking about this for weeks, but finally, the UK investigators are set to arrive here next week. Finally, they're going to be coming here. We're going to get to that in just a moment. There's another big story. We were talking about this yesterday, Chester, with the GB company and how they have asked the Grand Bahama Port Authority for an increase, a 6.3% rate increase, totally bypassing IRCA, which is the regulator for the energy sector. So we're hearing the government saying this is unacceptable, and we've got Michael Darville, a former minister for Grand Bahama and a former MP for Grand Bahama. But he's saying that the GBPC needs to back off. And then I found this very interesting, and I want to get your take on it, Chester. The government asking IRCA to intervene. Something sounds backwards here. What now? Okay, let's get to that one first. The Grand Bahama Power Company's decision to seek approval from the Grand Bahama Port Authority for a 6.3% increase in the base rate of electricity has caused an uproar. Minister of Energy and Transport JoBeth Colby-Davis has written a letter to the Utilities Regulation of IRCA and expressed her unequivocal objection to the GBPA's actions. This is a story from our Travis Cartwright Carroll. In a statement yesterday, Colby-Davis said the port's stance is in direct contravention of the Electricity Act, which clearly designates IRCA as the regulatory body responsible for overseeing the energy sector throughout the Bahamas. She said, quote, it not only breaches our established legal framework, but also threatens the government's ongoing efforts to reduce energy costs for all Bahamians. The ministry has called on IRCA to enforce stringent compliance with the Electricity Act and to halt any rate increases that have not undergone proper regulatory review. Okay. Colby-Davis said it is important for all stakeholders to adhere to the laws meant to safeguard the interests of the Bahamian people. She said, quote, we trust that IRCA will take swift and decisive action to address this law within our energy sector. I don't have the patience and the energy. Well, what is this language here? Because didn't they take away the power from IRCA to stop rate increases here if the minister approves them? Am I dreaming? Did that not happen, Chester? Am I missing something?
You're not dreaming.
So, and is it IRCA who's supposed to deal with the Grand Bahama Port Authority, or can the government just go? What is this? What are we doing? Why are we playing? What is IRCA? Do they have Can they go and arrest people? Can they go and what can they do? I'm missing something. What's happening?
It seems from IRCA's statement that they can protect their regulatory right and deal with companies that are trying to be regulators over them, it seems.
Oh, okay. But not the minister. The minister, they have no power over.
One would think the minister should have power.
Well,
the minister has the power for everything else, right?
Yeah, I guess. Sure. Okay. Well, anyway, so the Electricity Act 2024, which was recently debated and passed in Parliament, established IRCA as the independent regulator for the generation, transmission, distribution, and supply of electricity for the entire Bahamas. However, they did even since the creation of IRCA, and still insists that the language in the Hawksbill Creek Agreement makes it the regulator for power production on Grand Bahama. In a statement yesterday, IRCA said it has not received any tariff rate application from GBPC. It said, quote, IRCA does not recognize the authority of any other entity to regulate electricity anywhere in the Bahamas and has not delegated any such authority to any other entity. IRCA will not hesitate to use its powers established under the law to ensure that anyone aiding in the contravention of the law is subject to appropriate action. The new Electricity Act ensures that all public electricity suppliers and authorized public electricity suppliers throughout the Bahamas are subject to the same legislative and regulatory oversight. GBPC was granted a 3.4% rate increase in 2022, and GBPC's filing requests consideration of an increase in the base rate of 6.3% for all customers, which is below the Bahamas' inflation rate of 3%, according to GBPC. And it said the rate increase, balanced with its effective fuel purchase strategy, would result in a small all-in decrease for the majority of electricity customers. If approved, GBPC says the increase would take effect January 1st of next year. All right. As I said, Darville's calling for them to back off as well. Let's get your reaction to all of this, folks. What do we think is going to happen here? And what can happen here? And if the GBPA doesn't back off, what are we going to do? We asked you this yesterday. We talked about this yesterday. Will there be lawsuits? Will there be armed guards storming the gates? What's going to happen? 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. Lots of words flying about, Chester. What do we think's going on here?
I hope. Well, I thought they had already had a court case about who is the regulator for GBPC going. I don't know what could be next. They still need to sort. Well, the government said there's no question about it, but again, the GBPA is like, yes, submit your requests to us. They're completely ignoring IRCA and the law the government passed, it seems. So the Hawksbill Creek Agreement to them has supremacy over the law of the land, it seems. Whether that's right or not, the fact of the matter remains that the GBPC produces power for not just Freeport, but the entire island of Grand Bahama.
Yeah.
And again, I can't wrap my head around even if GBPA thinks it's the regulator for Freeport, fine, but the rest of Grand Bahama can't be under the GBPA's regulatory watch.
Yeah.
So,
do you think
if tariff rate increases have to go through the Port Authority, then maybe the increases should only affect the port area.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. If you think that might end up being how this is resolved, and fine, you'll do that for the Freeport Lucaya area, but outside, you can't increase the rate.
Right, but see, GBPC doesn't build their business model on that. They build it on the whole island. So that just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Wow. All right, let's get, again, call in. We want to hear from people from Grand Bahama. What are you making of all this? Are you just going to let, the players?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, what are you all saying? We're hearing from almost everybody but the residents. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. Some text messages. I find this more than odd because Colby Davis just said no assets. Bahamas Grid could ignore IRCA and set any rate they want in NASA. No, not quite, but it has to go through her for 3 whole years.
Well, not Bahamas Grid, right?
Right. Well, I mean, it has to come through her. But,
I mean, Bahamas Grid, they said Bahamas Grid setting rates?
Yeah, well, you know what they mean. Whoever's going to be controlling things at BPL going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dwight Orca is a waste of people, time, and should be dismantled. Well, that's a bit extreme. How in the world do we have a country? We need to make an example out of them. Sandals. Okay, this is just everything you're throwing in here, and there are no punctuation marks. I don't know what's going on. Taxes, dollars, wait. Okay, sorry, I can't do it. This person says here, what the Parliament did is a clear violation of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement. The HCA is the law of the land, Chester. I guess, well, in Grand Bahama. The power company is a licensee of the GBPA, so it doesn't matter that it supplies power outside the port area. I don't know. This is tricky. This is tricky. Yeah. Oh boy! And this text here, we are saying that whoever the regulator is, we are not interested. This is from Grand Bahama. We're not interested, nor do we intend to pay any additional money to GBPC. Oh, really? Okay. So what are you going to do? You're going to calculate 6.3% off your bills and decide not to pay that, or what? What will you do? And they're going on. The Hawksbill Creek Agreement is not the law of the land. Well. This is an interesting position to be in, and it's going to be, cannot wait to see how this is resolved. But I think it's going to be a lot of lawyers and a lot of laws that are going to need to be adjusted or put in place to prevent this type of stuff from happening again. But we will...
As somebody, I think, alluded to yesterday, successive governments have ignored the GBPA, ignored these loopholes and possible problems that could arise for a long time. So, again, that's why the government now is saying the Port Authority owes them millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. Small oversights and just ignoring things like this.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So we will keep you updated, folks. It's going to be interesting, as we said. So let's get to the big story of the day. The big headline. UK investigators arrive next week. Fernandez says they will oversee aspects of the investigation. Our Travis Cartwright-Carroll writing about this today. Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez says investigators from the United Kingdom will travel to the Bahamas next week to oversee aspects of the force's investigation into Chief Superintendent Michael Johnson. Fernandez saying in a statement last night, quote, the Royal Bahamas Police Force has taken significant steps to ensure a thorough and impartial investigation into these serious allegations. In cooperation with our international partners, we have forwarded files in relation to the case to National Crime Agency, known as the NCA, to aid in the investigation. We are pleased to confirm the involvement of senior NCA officials in this matter. John Michael McKeon, head of the NCA's anti-corruption unit, and Andrew John Black, a senior investigator, will be arriving in the Bahamas from the UK on August 14th to personally oversee aspects of this investigation. They are scheduled to depart on August 17th. Additionally, Francis Savaki Kiriaru, an investigator based in the NCA's Miami office, will join the team and is scheduled to arrive and depart on the same dates. The Royal Bahamas Police Force is fully cooperating with these international experts to ensure that all facets of the investigation are covered comprehensively. This collaboration underscores our resolve to address these allegations with the utmost seriousness and diligence. We will continue to keep the public informed as the investigation progresses, consistent with our duty to uphold the integrity of our institution and the trust placed in us by the people of the Bahamas. Well, Fernandez's statement comes hours after former Prime Minister Dr. Jimenez called the force's investigation woefully insufficient. He had said the force cannot lead an investigation into the police force. He said, quote, indeed, for its own credibility, standing in the country, and need for reform, the RBPF should welcome a more open and thorough investigation by an independent group with no potential conflicts of interest. He also called on Prime Minister Philip Davis to take more serious steps to comprehensively investigate the force. He said, quote, as head of government, it is the responsibility and obligation of Mr. Davis to cause an investigation of the force that gets to the bottom of all the allegations while also looking into what may be institutionally wrong with the organization. Along with my opposition colleagues, I have called for a commission of inquiry. This would be an appropriate response to the allegations that were made. Now, Michael Johnson, who headed the Criminal Investigation Department, was placed on leave last month after explosive audio recordings were leaked that involve a man identified as a wanted suspect. They purportedly revealed the man in separate conversations attempting to negotiate with two men about turning himself in and what it would cost for him to be released after he's questioned. The wanted man has been identified by his father as Matthew Fox Jr., who was murdered in May. The wanted man. Fernandez has said that the force requested the help of international law enforcement from the United Kingdom. He said the security and intelligence branch of the police force will oversee the investigation and that it would not disappear out of the back door. All right, so here we go. We've been talking about this back and forth. Some people were calling. I couldn't understand it. They were calling to say, why would this team need to be here? And of course, I was saying, of course they need to be here. I mean, what type of investigation can you do from abroad? That doesn't even make any sense. But they're coming. I see some folks online saying...
Why they have a problem with the team being here?
I really don't understand, folks. I don't get it. Nothing makes sense. But they will find something to justify anything. And that's just how it is, sadly. Yeah. But I see some folks saying that they think the time might be too short. Can they really do anything in that amount of time? That's what, 2-3 days?
That's what I thought, too.
Yeah. They might need to do 2-3 weeks, if not months. But, So, let's get your reaction to this, folks. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. 300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. All right. Got some text messages coming in. This person says here, this is back to the power company issues. We see what's going on now over in Freeport with the sudden power price increase, or proposed, The new NASA power companies are just looking what stops them from doing the same thing.
Urka.
No, not Urka. The minister. But the minister would likely not stop them. But it's the minister who has the power here thanks to the new Electricity Act. They don't have to go to Urka. And then Urka after 3 years. But 3 years, a lot could happen in that time. A lot could happen. This person here says...
In the next half hour.
Especially in this country and involving electricity, yes. This text here, do you believe in conspiracy theories? So the police force is finally allowing the UK investigators to come in after the last witness alive was mysteriously murdered last week. Oh, boy. Maybe that was all... No, it's going to get worse if I say what it's about. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to both of you.
Hi, good morning.
It should have been the police's responsibility to place those individuals connected to this crime scene in safe custody to protect them so that they would be alive to testify. But for some strange reason, the reverse has happened. So it just leaves the public to think and wonder, what do we got going on here? Because I remember being very close to the government one time ago and overhearing a conversation that, the police force is heavily corrupt to a really large percentage. So, we got our work cut out.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, let's take the call here on a toll-free line. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to both you and Chester Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Let's just give you some quick insight on the Grand Bahama power issue. First of all, the Hawks Creek Agreement is not some standalone agreement. The Hawksbill Creek Agreement is an actual law, the Deepwater Harbor Act. It's just called the Hawksbill Creek Agreement. So the question would then have to be, would law supersede the other? But it, however, brings some tenets. Let's first go back to what the energy generation in the area of Freeport. The intent of power generation in Freeport was for it to generate power, not as an independent people, but generate power at cost, with minimal additional fees or profit to take care of infrastructure, whatever, for the city of Freeport. Somehow that got contaminated in the 2000s, where the Perry Gladstone Christie administration gave consent for the sale of the asset of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, which happens to be the power company as well as some other assets that was part of it. Somewhere along the line also, I don't remember exactly when, but there was power generations on Eastern Grand Bahama, separate from the Freeport Power Company, the name at the time, which they were generating, and somehow an agreement was met that they would begin to generate power for the entire island. The problem that in the initial case, and yes, Chester, they did have a case. Initially, they made an effort that the Bahamas government or OICA is supposed to be able to, the PUC is supposed to be able to regulate Freeport. They put that in court. No action really happened on it for about 7 years. Then comes this new law, and 2024 law is supposed to change things. I think this may be in the third attempt. And the Grand Bahama Port Authority has pushed back. The legal question is, can you separate Freeport from Grand Bahama in the sense of whatever this agreement that was signed, did it give some exclusivity for generation? But I don't know what rule it had for regulation, because the regulations on the Hawksbill Creek Agreement is limited to the Freeport area. I've asked this question for a dozen years, and we've had spins and talk and everything else of this or inaction in respect to that. But any lawyer you speak to would tell you that this could be clarified in law. Whether or not the 2024 law clarified it, I don't know. I've not really examined it.
It's going to be interesting.
The question then now is though, the fact that the power companies now spin off as a private entity, does the Grand Bahama Port Authority, even though it's licensed in Freeport, has the authority to say that it still has the regulatory power for a separate now standalone entity, because the power generation was part of the GBPA. Mm-hmm. So it's a question that we have to have on the Hawksbill Creek Agreement concerning a lot of different things. And this is the thing when I say, Dwight, I'm not going to keep this long, but I say to you that we need to have a real conversation on it, because some of the things you argue for, such as local governance, municipal government, is part of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement that should have took effect since 1990. And that include these power generations and acting as municipal government and everything else of that sort. And this is why no one wants to have a real conversation on the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, because if you follow what its intent was, you would find out that MPs' sole purpose will be legislation and self-governance, or municipal governance, as you argue for, what happens. Because the Hawksbill Creek Agreement says no law should apply to individuals in behemoths in Freeport that doesn't apply to them everywhere. So as of August 1990, if you had municipal government in Freeport, then it must be applied everywhere. Wow. If you had land registration in Freeport, then you have to have land registration everywhere. But these are the things that we need to have a conversation. And we somehow
Can you imagine what this country would have been like?
Yes, but I'm saying to you, as long as we keep referring to the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, then this opportunity still stands. But they want to refer to the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, but never mentions for the Hawksbill Creek Agreement to function. And that's why Freeport has been dysfunctional, even though it's the last economic bastion for the development of the Bahamas. Because the problem is, the minute you fix Freeport, you fix the Bahamas, but you also strip MPs of the godlike powers they have.
Really quickly, you have any views on this investigation with the UK?
The 3 days. Drive-by investigation is not going to happen. First of all, let me say this, Dwight. They say they're investigating the validity of the voice notes. It's very easy, Just have Mr. Michael Johnson deny that it's him. Then we investigate it. Did he deny that the voice note is not him? See, I don't know where this investigative practices come from, but if this is how we conduct investigations, it shows why we have such a capuncle up justice system that it is. This is not how investigations or internal investigations or whatever happens. If they really want to investigate, give the FBI and the UK people free rein to investigate in their parameters, not the parameters that our police give them.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Wow. All right, we'll take more of your calls and your text messages when we get back from the break. This is Morning Blend on a Thursday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Yeah, I know. All I'm asking, baby, please, 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 don't prove I'm right. Please, 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 don't bring me to tears when I just did my makeup so nice. Heartbreak is one thing, my ego's another. I beg you, don't embarrass me. Please, please, please.
Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
RBC. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure, RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
$7:43, time for your first look at traffic for the morning. We're on your loan solution with RBC. Okay, we've got a lot going on, folks. So the road paving on Tawny Williams-Darling Highway, that continues. And so you're asked to keep that in mind if you're in that area. And there is paving on Eastern Road, beginning at Shirley Street to Johnson Road. That has begun already, and that's expected to continue for the rest of the week. The road works there taking place between 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. There'll be single lane closures, and everyone's asked to avoid this area if you can, or at least follow the posted traffic signs. And letting you know what's going to be happening beginning tonight into tomorrow for the Goombay Summer Festival. The road's going to be closed between Charlotte Street and Rawson Square downtown, beginning at 8 p.m. That's going to allow for the setup for the Summer Festival. And then beginning Friday morning, the square will be closed to vehicular traffic. On Friday, eastbound traffic will be allowed from Charlotte Street to Parliament Street. All traffic will be diverted north and south of Bay Street. And at 1 p.m. tomorrow, the eastbound intersection of Bay and Charlotte Street will be closed to vehicular traffic as well until the end of the festival. The festival begins at 6 p.m. and ends at midnight. And again, that's on Friday. All normal activities on Bay Street will resume Saturday morning. So keep that in mind for this evening. In your real-time traffic right now, on the streets of New Providence, we're seeing some heavy traffic on Mile Butler Highway, just north of Fire Trail as you approach Harold Pond if you're heading northbound toward the roundabout with Tawny Williams-Darling Highway. Blue Hill Road, as you get closer to the roundabout with Independence Drive, you're going to be seeing some traffic there on that hill heading down toward the roundabout. And near Carmichael and Soldier Road, the Soldier Road Junction, if you're heading northbound mainly. Elsewhere, not looking so bad right now on the streets of New Providence. We'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news, though. That's your Morning Blend traffic, brought to you by RBC. Remember, you can start a conversation at rbc.com/loan/all of you. And it's time for another check of your weather for today. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect until 8:30 this morning for the southern Bahamas. That's for Mayaguana and the Turks and Caicos Islands, specifically West Caicos, Providenciales, and North Caicos. A severe weather watch is in effect for the remainder of the Turks and Caicos Islands. The Department of Meteorology says that their satellite imagery depicts a line of showers and thunderstorms moving towards and across these areas, and that showers and thunderstorms are associated with deep tropical moisture and induced troughing from Tropical Storm Debbie, the outer bands currently moving, Debbie currently moving inland over South Carolina. So the showers and thunderstorms we'll be seeing here in the Bahamas will be locally heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times, causing strong gusty winds, dangerous lightning, heavy downpours, hail, and possible waterspout or tornado activity. Localized flooding also possible as a result of this. So as we said, this is as a result of the outer bands of Debbie. A swath of deep moisture moving across the Bahamas, coupled with the weakened ridging pattern due to the influence of Debbie, that's going to keep unstable weather across the islands. And this will continue for the next day or so. Residents in the northwest Bahamas especially should remain alert, as there's the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms with these rain bands associated with the system. There's a potential for localized flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas during heavy and prolonged rainfall events. And beachgoers, especially in the extreme northwest, should exercise caution due to the moderate risk of rip currents. For today, we are looking at partly cloudy to cloudy conditions with a few breaks, warm and humid with widely scattered showers and a few isolated thunderstorms. And these conditions will become more widespread later this morning, with showers becoming heavier and thunderstorms more severe in the late morning, early afternoon hours. Smoke-craft caution in effect for the northern Atlantic waters of the extreme northwest Bahamas. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. We're looking at highs getting to around 89 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. We'll take a closer look at the tropics in our next weather check, but this weather check brought to you by today's NASA Guardian. Pick up today's NASA Guardian. The Back to School supplement is inside today's paper.
We are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean. Interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
We're gonna give you a check every week for a year. Percy's Pension Plan, Island Game, keep you winning. Percy's Pension Plan, dream big, we will help you live it. Percy's Pension Plan, Island Game, we got you. Percy's Pension Plan, from the friends you can trust. If winning is a must, go play the game you know, cause your best chance is with us. The most trustworthy name is Percy's Island Game. So put 20 on your account and ride this easy train at Percy's Percy's Island Game.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Living with a neurological condition shouldn't define you. At Cleveland Clinic in Florida, we do whatever it takes to make life better today while discovering new treatments for a brighter tomorrow. From epilepsy management to specialized spine care and brain tumor surgery, we're delivering world-class neurology care for the day-to-day, for the days you live for every care in the world. Visit clevelandclinicflorida.org/Caribbean.
Craving something delicious and freshly made? Dunkin' has got you covered all day your way. From savory sausage, egg and cheese to crispy bacon, ham, and even tuna. Our sandwiches are made to order just for you. Choose your favorite. Bagels, croissant, toast, or muffin. Whatever you want, we've got it. Whether it's a classic grilled cheese or a hearty club, your perfect sandwich is just a bite away. Dunkin's fresh, made-to-order sandwiches made all day your way. Only at Dunkin'. The Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
Hey Bahamas, ready for some eye-openers? Check out 2 brand new books by our legendary 3-time PM Hubert Ingram. Get the tea on his amazing leadership and courage to buck the system. These books are for you, the game changers, movers and shakers, and anyone passionate about our nation's roots and future. Available now at Dungalik Studios, Logos Bookstore, the National Art Gallery of the Bahamas, and Chapter 1 Bookstore. Score your copies today. Celebrate our amazing legacy.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
Sorry for you, boy, what your ma gonna do when she find out about you, boy? People on the next side of the ocean, they gon' hear the commotion, and you gon' need surgical operation when she finish with you. When Johnny she leaves, she say, yeah, Johnny watch the part, don't let her get too hot. But as she turn away, yeah, Johnny gon' go play and he gon' live to regret this day. Well, the cat jumped through the window, knocked the pot off the stove. The wind blow the fire and make it burn much higher. The fire catch the curtain.
We could just listen to this all day, don't you think? No? Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio, 96.9. Dwight Strachan on Chester Robards on this Thursday. Laverne was on earlier in the week. We're doing a little switcheroo thing here just for the week. DeQuest is going to be with us tomorrow. And, Chester, thank you for being here again this morning.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're getting your reaction, again, to the big story in the papers today. UK investigators arrive next week. We've got a lot of your text messages. You can continue to text us, 422-4796. You can continue to call in, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, toll free, 242-300-5720. Here's a text. Another piece of foolishness. They're here for 3 days. We still don't know what they're here to do. All PR. As it becomes clear, this cannot proceed without independent oversight. The words mean nothing without specifics. Well, I mean, don't have to be that negative. But you do have to wonder, is that enough time? Is it enough time? Yeah. The same texter says, here's what I'd want if I had to assist with this investigation. I'd want to conduct a forensic investigation in police senior leadership. I want a list of every single criminal investigation forwarded to that CDU unit. I want to know how many cases involve persons on bail who've been murdered. Oh, well, that's almost everyone. I want a list of co-conspirators. I want to speak to the whistleblower guy. Editing a bit here. I want to speak to the parents who said their murdered sons told them if something happened, send out the voice note. I want to speak to those officers who, this is getting a lot, who told allegedly Oral Roberts, who the most recent victim allegedly involved in this situation, not to stop if a police car approached him. I want to conduct interviews of co-conspirators and witnesses in that the cases mentioned on the tape. I want to speak to the lawyer and examine their cases, and tons more. I want to look at these people in the eye. The only way this makes sense is if you invited me over to meet senior leadership, think, enjoy a day of frolicking on Athol Island mid-destruction or construction day, then close off with a nice meal. Oh, he's getting funny now. But, okay, I hear you. That sounds like at least a month. No? That's a lot. But I like how you're thinking. Yeah, I don't know if you can do half those things in 3 days. You might not even be able to do the first two things you mentioned in 3 days. But maybe it's part one. Maybe they'll be back. I don't know. Or maybe I have no idea. This person says here, can you advise us of which day is used in Parliament to answer public questions? I'm sure this transparent, honest, new day, PM, and his best of the MPs are always ready to answer. This must be a text from years ago. I don't understand what's happening here. We've already seen that there are challenges with that. Okay. Anyway, this texter here, this is a joke. The time is too short to investigate. This person said we're going to hear from C. Allen, who has the answers to all of our questions. Okay. Well, there you go. So it's okay to send the Bahamian law enforcement officers to TCI and Haiti to help them with their crime problem, but it's a problem when international law enforcement comes to the Bahamas to help with our crime problem? I don't think it's a problem, but some people do. They must have something to fear. I don't know. Right, Chester? What would be the issue? Especially with something as serious as this.
Exactly.
Right? One more text before we go to the news. This person says the force just wants to be able to say the foreign police officers, they probably will frustrate the crap out of them for the 3 days and won't use any information uncovered. Ah, boy. We'll get to the rest of your text after the break. Stay with us.
Naughty Johnny, oh naughty Johnny, way, way, way. I'm sorry for you, boy. What your mama gonna do when she find out about you, boy? People, way, on the next side of the ocean, way, they gon' hear the commotion, and you gon' need surgical operation when she finished with you. When Johnny Ma come back home, all she find was cinder. She get the whole story from a neighbor named Miss Pinder. She fall on she knees and say, yeah, if I have my way, that boy gonna live to regret this day.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or text us 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. And now at 8:19, it is time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. I've been telling you about this thunderstorm warning that's in effect. It's about to expire. It's in effect until 8:30 this morning. Thunderstorm warning for the southeast Bahamas. That's Mayaguana, and also for the Turks and Caicos Islands, but specifically West Caicos, Providenciales, and North Caicos. Severe weather watch is in effect for the rest of the Turks and Caicos Islands. It's all as a result of the outer bands of Debbie, which is making its way over South Carolina right now. But the outer bands, we're feeling them here. And that's expected to continue for the day today. Showers will be locally heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times, causing strong gusty winds, dangerous lightning, heavy downpours, hail, and possible waterspout or tornado activity. And again, lightning and radar and satellite imagery showing a line of showers and thunderstorms associated with this heading towards that warning area. But the rest of the Bahamas is going to be seeing this as well, especially the northwest. And so we've got that swath of deep moisture moving across the islands, coupled with a weakened ridging pattern due to the influence of Debbie. And that will keep an unstable weather pattern across the chain of islands today. So the Northwest Bahamas specifically should be alert for the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms. Again, associated with the rain bands. With Debbie, there's potential for localized flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas. And beachgoers should exercise caution in the extreme Northwest Bahamas and Atlantic exposures due to the presence of rip currents. So again, for today, for all areas, we're looking for mostly cloudy conditions with more widespread showers and thunderstorms expected late morning into early afternoon. And a small craft caution is in effect for the northern Atlantic waters of the extreme Northwest Bahamas. And expect gusty winds and higher seas in heavy showers and thunderstorms today. We're looking at temperatures getting to around 89 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. All right, so that's your morning blend weather check. Brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams Paints got you covered for all your painting and equipment needs. Visit them in-store or online today. 8:22 the time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. Find your loan solution with RBC. A reminder of the work that's going on. We've got a number of spots that are seeing paving work. That's Tawny Williams Darling Highway between Bahamas Games Boulevard and the roundabout with Blue Hill Road. And you might want to avoid the area if you can while work is being done. There's also Eastern Road beginning at Shirley Street to Johnson Road. That work goes on mainly between 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and a single lane closure is being implemented. You're asked to avoid the area if you can or follow the posted traffic signs. And a reminder about what's going to start happening this evening. That's going to affect your commute if you're in the downtown area. Bay Street and other diversions in the area because of the Goombay Summer Festival, which is tomorrow. But beginning this evening, Charlotte Street and Rawson Square will be closed at 8 p.m. to allow for setup. And beginning tomorrow morning, the square will be closed to vehicular traffic, and one central lane of eastbound traffic will be allowed from Charlotte Street to Parliament Street. All traffic will be diverted north and south of Bay Street. And at 1 p.m., the eastbound intersection of Bay and Charlotte Street will be closed to vehicular traffic until the end of the festival. The festival begins at 6 p.m. and ends at midnight. All normal traffic will resume on Bay Street Saturday morning. So keep that in mind, again, beginning tonight. In your real-time traffic right now, we're seeing heavy traffic on Milo Butler Highway from just north of Fire Trail Road and the roundabout there, straight up to Tawniqua Lanes. We've got Blue Hill Road with some pockets of traffic just near Carmichael and as you approach the roundabout with Independence Drive. Similar on East Street, north and southbound between Soldier and the roundabout with Independence Drive and East West Highway, but definitely manageable. But things not looking so bad out there on the streets of New Providence. Downtown, a bit busy for you as you are heading east and west of Nassau Street. Nassau Street looking busy northbound as well. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by RBC. Start a conversation at rbc.com/loan/all of you.
RBC will find the right loan for all of you with competitive rates and extended terms to suit you. Whether it's for debt consolidation, your next vehicle, or home purchase, sometimes we all need a little more. No matter the reason for the loan, we're here to help you find the solution. RBC. RBC has all the loans for all of you. Let's start with a conversation today.
Sherwin-Williams Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we could sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give and what product not to give them to use.
Mm-hmm.
So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
Are you seeking exceptional health care beyond the traditional hospital setting? Introducing Doctors Hospital Clinics, your trusted destination for comprehensive care. Our full-service locations provide affordable services through our Loyalty Advantage membership program and NHI. Experience seamless care with our integrated health system, where your medical history travels with you, ensuring continuity of care. Book an appointment today at clinics.doctorshosp.com. We make primary care easy.
We go everywhere. Shop early at Janae's Chesapeake Road annual back-to-school sale going on now. Get up to 20% off on all school items in stock. Yes, all school items in stock. Shirts, jumpers, skirts, boys' long and short pants, school neckties, PE shorts, in a variety of colors and school monograms. Shop early and don't miss out at Janae's Uniform Center Chesapeake Road's annual back-to-school sale going on now. Remember, we go everywhere. Beat the rush and save at Janae's now.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
Call the fire engine, run, tell 'em come quick. I can feel my temperature rising, never could make a creep like this. Lord, all over my head, straight down to my feet. I shall meet this pint on the good drum and the solo lyric so sweet. Oh, I went to Cat Island to the musical festival. I was always into reggae and rap, never checked for the rake and scream. Lord, I stay with my family up the road there in Atlas Town. And everywhere I went, all the people were talking about the battle of the band. Oh, call the fire engine, run, tell 'em come quick. I can feel my temperature rising, never wait, rake and scream like this. Lord, all over my body, from my head straight down to my feet. I shall beat this pint on the good drum and the solo, the rake so sweet. Oh, by later that evening,
We're back with Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, along with Chester Robards, on this Thursday morning. And we're talking about the big stories of the day. The big headlines in the paper involve the UK investigators who are going to be coming here next week to get into this probe with the Criminal Investigation Department. I noticed that the statement from the commissioner, investigation of Chief Superintendent Michael Johnson, but not necessarily. It's interesting that it's phrased like that as opposed to, but I guess they're focusing on him. Okay, interesting. Always got comedians listening to the show. This texter texting in to the text line, asking what number is the Guardian text line.
Yeah, it's rich.
Yeah, great stuff.
Maybe
Okay.
they meant something else.
Well, we'll never know now. But okay.
Who is this independent body going to present their findings to?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? And will we ever hear all of their findings, or will we be, just treated to select portions of what they've determined?
Yeah, and as you suggested, are they going to be limited in what they can try to find out?
Mm-hmm.
Given that they're being brought to investigate one person?
Yeah, it's very curious. Very. Some more messages here. 422-4796. You can call in 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. This texter says that people who come to do a true and comprehensive investigation wouldn't have a definitive deadline to leave. If you're doing an investigation, you should allow the evidence to lead the timeline. Absolutely, texter. You said it, right? I don't know. I don't know what that's about. This one says here they should all be audited, but that will never happen. Too many people are compromised. Our country has always been a haven for crime and criminals. We just have to manage the best. Wow. I don't know if I like how everybody's so just, I say it too, but I don't like that we're all like this. Like, well, that's just how it is. It's a corrupt place. You just got to deal with it. Like, really? We're satisfied to say this is who we are. Okay. This texter here, the fact that a date is already set for the 4 investigators to leave proves that they won't be here to investigate anything. This must be some pleasure trip. Wow. Oh, boy. And another text here. Okay, that's totally not what we're talking about today. Did the CID head Johnson ever deny the voice on the recording was his? Surely he should remember if he had such a conversation with anyone. Start with the denial or the acceptance of the audio and make that public. If he denies, we can start with voice analysis and forensics to determine validity. Technology allows this with 99% accuracy. The police force, immigration, customs, defense force, and all above assistant director who are supposed to file disclosures, do an audit on the entire armed forces, personal finances, and work towards all the others. Enact transparency, integrity, accountability, and anti-corruption laws. Not tomorrow, but today. Okay. Let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Chester Poppy here.
Hi.
Good morning, Bahamas. Chester and Dwight, y'all, I don't know if you could talk about it in the business thing. We was talking about what's going on with Sandals over there in Exoma the other day, and it sounded like Chester Cooper, the Deputy Prime Minister, doing some good things over there. Say a job fair Friday, and there'll be expunging records, like, they talk about things like persons who might have been in charge under the pandemic, like they promised to do, and expunging a joint and stuff. I think that's a good thing, and I hope the people over there be able to find something substantial to do and either open up new, even they bring in the people who use up in there sometime, ECB or whatever, the small business people, to open up their business stuff, but that ain't what you're talking about right now. I want to start off by saying I think they need the state investigation, and thank God they come in. They should have been here a long time. It's been long now, and it's a serious thing. People losing their life. I think they need to stay until they finish. I wondered if the journalists, if the news radio station, newsrooms, them could maybe do a little bit of investigative journalism. Yeah, we hear what the commissioner say, and we respect what he say. But call over there wherever these people come in and talk to the authorities, the people, their bosses, find out what we ask them to come over here to do, and what should we be expecting the public for them to do when they come here. I feel like the commissioner of police, like I say, I have nothing personal. I love him. I think he's a serious person, and he has done a lot for the country. But he need to remove himself or be removed right now when them investigators them come. And 3 days is a joke. 3 weeks, 3 months is a joke. Maybe they need to be here for 3 years. Wow. But they need to let Carolina Bettle, the judge, and people like former Justice Jones Sawyer sit in to request things them, whatever they need, and let it be reported to them. We need them investigators and people like Jones Sawyer and Carolina Bettle, if they decide to use them to judge them, because we need some local people there too, not the police force. SIB is a joke. All right, we need them to be able to sit down and talk to the police officers them in the police force to find out if they know anything. They need to investigate all the different, at least for the last 3 or 2 years, cases what the officer did. A lawyer was involved with the conversation. They need to investigate all of those cases them and find out. SIB is a joke. Okay. Ain't nobody take them serious. They still joking. They still going about it the wrong way.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot there. Thank you, Papa. Wow. Let's take another call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, morning, Dwight, and good morning to you guys.
Hi.
You know, one time ago, we all used to be proud of our police force when it comes to standing against the Caribbean and certain countries, but however, that has really diminished. I don't totally agree with everything what Papa say, but I agree with at least 90% of what Papa is saying. We need the help to clean up that police force. You understand? That police force has grown into, I don't know what to call that now in terms of their attitudes, their investigative things, and the things that they're doing. I have a situation that I reported 4 weeks ago to the Commissioner of Police. He sent it to Central Police Station. And when I called to get a status on the case, man, they treat me like I was the criminal. You understand? No matter what it is, right? Certain things they don't investigate. One tell me, he ain't think that this, that, the next thing. They need to clean up the police force. Mm-hmm. We used to be proud of that force one time ago, and we can always do it again. Okay. Make the force great again. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Strong. Good morning, Chester.
Hi.
Yeah, Dwight, you said something that prompted me to call when you said you was afraid of the responses that the Texas, this learned behavior, this is a corrupt nation, and then they just dismissed it as that, right?
Well, that we're satisfied that's how it is.
That's what you call learned helplessness, right? That's what and so the guy Chester as to our experience in a cell. I was surprised that Chester was in a cell, but I was saying Central Police Station reminded me of a dungeon. And my older brother was talking about the western portion of it years ago. So what I'm saying is, with attitudes like that, right? And the caller upset me because I wouldn't put on a suit on him. He said, I hate the police because I don't like the police. I mean, what type of BS is that? I call officers' name who I respect and have high regard for. You see what I'm saying, Mr. Strong? Mm-hmm. Don't tell me I hate the police. That's inflaming my character. That's an inflammatory remark to me because I don't hate no police. What I hate is some of their actions. Now, the police out there working hard. Last night I saw an incident in which they pulled a guy over on the open city market lot. And so what happened is, whatever he did, he might have had something a little piece of weed over, but he didn't have anything in his car. They handcuffed him, and they were still beating him while he was handcuffed. You see, this is what people are saying. So, I mean, with the injustice done to me, it takes me about half an hour to say that throughout my life. So the police is not there for me to like, The law is there for me to respect. But if they don't respect themselves, Mr. Strong, at my age, when will they do? And so I agree with 99% of the stuff that Papa said. And the text also talk about auditing them. They have to be audited. But then this is the corruption within the police force. Even though you have good officers, the corruption is irreparable. All right, that's the way it is, Dwight. What you want me to say? What I'm saying is, you have a CID. They don't have no name, no numbers on them, right, Chester? They pulling you over. They brutalizing you, but you don't know who they are. You don't think a police officer should say, even though it may sound, you say, well, my name is officer this and that. You identify yourself, some form of ID on their neck, since they don't have a number. But this points to the problem. They wasn't wearing no camera. A few people passed who was concerned because they noticed. They saying, well, it's a situation police. And the police officer tell them, yeah, well, y'all go, mind your business, y'all go ahead, go ahead. The people are like 50 feet away, but they just stopping and looking. What type of BS is this, Mr. Strachan? You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, I'll share this with you guys. Did you know in the Sahari Oaks book, 2 reporters from London was killed when they came down asking questions about Sahari Oaks? All right? Wow. This is you guys don't know. So now, the double saying this is something, this is nothing new then. But Telco can solve this problem. The bank can solve this problem as far as giving account for monetary assets. But Telco can solve this problem with just the phone calls and a chronology, Mr. Strachan. Why is it that we're making this look so hard? You know, I mean, so most of the things that Papa saying is true. And if you listen to Scoogie, who is have a good insight into the inner city and the inner workings of these things. We saw an article resurfaced about the SI being the burning down of the drug in the drug exhibit room, right? And the attempt on just talk about B.K. Bonamy and how strict he was. They have enemies within the force. You see what I'm saying? And so the fact that they haven't opened up cold case files, the guy who tell me, but I hate the police, get me so angry until I was running. I mean, he don't even know me. What I'm saying is, don't paint a picture for me. You're not intelligent enough to do that. How you could tell me what my experiences in prison? You see what I'm saying? Just I didn't like it at all because I know what I saw. I don't have no reason to deceive the public. I didn't deceive the public about COVID-19 and the science. Why should I deceive them about?
No, I don't think you have to worry. Nobody
just coming out of the wood, and you told
We've heard it so many times. We've heard it. Thanks so much, 52. We've heard it so many times. Everybody knows that this is what we're seeing. So nobody believed what he was saying. I don't know what his experience is. Yeah, very unusual. All right, we are running out of time, but let's take these calls really quickly. We want to get to these final text messages here, and there's one more thing I want to highlight before we go to the break. But good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, Dwight, I ain't be too long, but at the end of the day, Dwight, what we continue to see in this country is the lack of our leaders don't wanting to make serious change. Now, the problem, in my view, would be facing with this police problem, what was festering for years in this country. It's one problem, in my view, and that's called appointment, right? You see, because until we, a nation, get away from these very important positions that the governments them appoint people who they could trust and feel comfortable with, right? We ain't gonna see no better in this country, because we have to wake up and realize that once you are appointed, right, you have no grounds to stand on. None. Absolutely none. And the people with running these appointments, they know the reason why they go in these appointments because they are not interested in standing on no ground. Because if you was to really truly patriot of this country, you ain't gonna accept no appointment from no government because you didn't know what it's all about. Our country facing what we're facing because we don't want to move from the status quo. We want the status quo to move from us, right? And that ain't gonna never happen. We have to move away from the status quo as a people, right? And stop encouraging our governments to appoint people like Commissioner of Police, Attorney General, and it's critical positions, man, because, see, once they are appointed, the government, the Prime Minister is king. And that's why we have to change the system because it shouldn't be just one person would have the control over a whole country because of his appointments, man. Yeah. Have a nice
Interesting.
day.
Okay, thank you very much. And this final call here. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
I heard someone say Chester in there. Good morning, Chester. Listen, I feel like in order to police force, some new people, completely new people, will have to step in, and they would have to step down. What we have there now would have to step down and have new people come in, like out of country people, where they bringing in a few of them, and allow them to go through and see what goes on. And they need about, say, 3 months, 6 months, thereabouts, in order to be able to see what's going on. Because just like 52 last night, I witnessed an officer stop a homeless person that was trying to buy something, and he raised his hand as if he was about to slap him, and he turned around and he saw me sitting in my car staring at him, so he dropped his hand and he just shrugged his shoulder at the young man break up running. So they do these things on a regular basis when they think nobody is looking, because if I was not there sitting down, there was no one else around. There were other people in the store, so I wasn't outside. I would not have seen that. Nobody would have seen what happened to that young man. And he's homeless. He wanted to ask someone to go inside the shop and purchase something for him because he know they won't let him inside. And that's all he was doing. But the officer had on a shirt that had police written across the back and a hat that had police written across it. They take advantage of people every day. So when you trying to give information on them, your life is threatened. Why would I open my mouth and say anything against them face to face? Can I know after that I'm a target? No. That's why we need no people in here.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much. Very interesting. Wow. Some text messages here. This person says here, Dwight and Chester, if grown men and women would take heed to good and wise counsel in general, there would be no need for such investigations to be taking place. Okay. Yes, I understand that we live in a sinful world, but the choices and decisions we make lies within us. It's greed, envy, and jealousy, and hatred, and uncontrolled desires that are sure to get us into a heap of mess if we're not keen on being careful and stop being covetous of other people and things. The UK group going to investigate the commissioner's package he got. Oh, are they going to investigate the package that he got and tell him he should step down? Well, what are you saying? Is it conflict or something, or what? Yeah. This text says all the police in that department need to be interviewed confidentially to allow the honest ones freedom to talk. Where are the suspects? Another text, where's the Bar Association in all of this? Granted, these are allegations, but say something. Why the silence? Well, they've already said they're not going to say anything until the investigation is complete, I believe they said. Okay, nope, I think you got it wrong, Texter. I'm sure the public realizes that those involved are not obligated to speak to anyone. I keep hearing a lot of personal sayings of people, I think you're trying to say, people saying that the officers need to be asked if that's him on the recording. He's not obligated to speak with anyone. Oh, okay. Okay, well, then he's not obligated to have a job with the police force. So I hear you, but okay. I would like to be a fly on the wall when your fellow journalists discuss the headlines because we the people can't say anything on these airways. It's a joke. It's a jokey place. I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand what you mean you can't say anything. Don't say anything that you don't know to be true. Don't say anything that's going to get people in trouble. But yeah, so exercise responsibility. You can say whatever you want in your home and next to your friend in the bar. But on the public airways or on a private radio station, no, you can't. I don't know if that's what you're getting at, but so we have to all be responsible here. Anyway, why is nobody talking about the money trail in that heist? People are. They certainly are. And this person says here... I don't think I need to read this. Okay. All right. Chester, one thing before we move, we were talking about this yesterday, the $2 million case, the Supreme Court case for the man who was held.
I'm here.
Yeah. All right. So, interesting story in today's Tribune.
Wait, there's more.
Yeah. And I think I mentioned this the other day that I bet you they'll try to appeal it. And, of course, AG office to appeal Supreme Court rulings. Attorney General Ryan Pinder says his office will appeal 2 recent Supreme Court rulings in which a man and a woman were collectively awarded $2.6 million for the challenges they endured. Pinder noted that both are old cases involving activities that preceded the Davis administration.
Okay.
Well, okay. But at least one involves cases going back almost 10 years, which involved people currently in this Davis administration who were in that cabinet as well.
Did they proceed in independent Bahamas?
Boy.
What is it?
I don't know anyway, he said a detention center working group, which meets weekly, was established to ensure compliance with the law and to implement human rights protocols that protect detainees' dignity. He says that group has been instrumental in monitoring the status of migrants and ensuring compliance with the law and statutory timeframes. He said the group, chaired by the Civil Litigation Section of the Office of the Attorney General, includes representatives from the Detention Center and Refugee Unit of the Department of Immigration, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the International Cooperation Unit of the Office of the Attorney General. Of course, the papers have been reporting about Matthew Sewell, a Jamaican man who endured sexual assault and beatings while unlawfully detained in prison and the detention center for nearly a decade, and was awarded more than $2 million, a record. Human Rights Bahamas praised the $2 million award, saying that the ruling highlights the unacceptability of such severe human rights. The group noted that compared to other notorious cases of inhumane treatment of falsely detained people, the judge described Sewell's as the absolute worst of the worst. Yeah. So why are they going to appeal this? Because it's not free to appeal. It's money too, right? Anyway, should they? What do you think? What do you make of that?
I think it's a bad look to appeal it, but what do I know?
This text here, my only concern is the hefty amounts being paid to these people who weren't born here or those whose parents weren't born here. This is concerning. That's the problem? That is so because they weren't? That's the only problem? Not the fact that they're being tortured and treated badly?
It's not the abuse. Not the abuse. That doesn't matter.
But the hefty amounts to people who weren't born here. If it were Bahamians, that would be fine. Would that be fine too? If it's Bahamians being tortured but are given money to help with their medical and psychological expenses, what are you saying, Dexter? We don't get it. Yeah. Did they appeal the court ruling that the MP won? No. Which MP? No, they often settled with folks. They settled with folks, not the court rulings. But I don't, unless you're talking about something specifically, I don't remember. But hey, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we're changing gears. It's a special day. It's DQ Miracle Treat Day. We'll get the details about that and a whole lot more to talk about this morning. Stay with us.
I could feel my temperature rising, never would make a creep like this. Lord, all over my body, from the head straight down to my feet. Ancient feet, this bank on the good rum and the soul, Lord, the drink so sweet. Oh, straight from the and straight got to the end. Everyone was having a good time, everyone was having fun. Lord, come salad and fried with peas and rice with crab in it too.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the know-how team at 396-1101.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Calling all young champions, supportive sidekicks, and wise mentors. Are you ready to unleash your back-to-school superpowers? Fly into John Bull Business Center, gear up, and enjoy a super 20% off all school supplies and 10% off on teaching aids. And that's not all. With every purchase now through September 7th, enter to win a $3,000 shopping spree. Zoom in to John Bull Business Center today and gear up like a true super student.
Looking for great device deals and offers this summer? Look no further. Alive has special discounts on the latest smartphones, Ring devices, and accessories. Plus, as an Alive customer, you can expect exclusive Get Experts, which means even more value for your money. We're talking more data, prizes, and surprises. Upgrade with us and experience the perfect summer with Alive in store or at bealive.com/deal.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
I used to bite my tongue and hold my breath, scared to rock the boat and make a mess. So I said quietly, agreed politely. I had a choice, I let you push me past the breaking point. I stood for nothing, so I fell for everything. You held me down, but I got up, already brushing off the dust. You hear my voice, you hear that sound, like thunder gonna shake the ground. You held me down, but I got up. Get ready, 'cause I've had enough. I see it all, I see it now. I got the eye of the tiger, the fighter, dancing through the fire. 'Cause I am the champion, and you're gonna hear me roar louder, louder than a lion. 'Cause I am the champion, and you're
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan on the Chester Robards. And today's a big day. Dairy Queen Miracle Treat Day. We gave you a preview last week, but today's the day. And as we heard, this is all to support mental health awareness, especially... Yeah, it is here, especially in children and adolescents this year. We're very pleased to welcome back from Dairy Queen Bahamas, Chief Operations Officer Crystal Campbell, and from Sandlands Rehabilitation Center, child and adolescent psychologist Erin Ingram. Welcome back. Great to have you with us.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
All right, so Crystal will get all the details about Miracle Treat Day in just a bit. But Erin, this is big, and we don't think about this much. The mental health of people, children, and adolescents. Let's get into it. Just what do we need to be keeping in mind?
So for the most part, it's mostly important to listen to your children as much as possible. Watch their behaviors. If you notice something that is completely out of the ordinary for your child, that's an indication that you need to check in with them. Try your best to have open and honest communication with your children and try to create a safe space where they actually feel comfortable enough to come to you. And when I say children, I don't mean just parents. I mean everyone who has contact with children. Mm-hmm. That includes coaches, teachers, youth ministers. If you are someone who is usually or regularly around children, be sure that you are a safe space for them to be able to express themselves.
Right. Yeah, but we hear it all the time. Kids saying, I didn't say anything because I was afraid. I was threatened or just felt like I was going to get in trouble if I said anything. What do we do to get them to feel safe or to speak out even against somebody who might be a parent that's causing problems for them?
So the best thing that we can do is have fair discipline. So I'm not a big proponent of beating children, but other ways that we can discipline our children without beating, that is really helpful in letting them feel safe with you. So what I would suggest is first having a conversation to agree on disciplinary actions that you would take if they were to break rules. And once you hold them accountable for those actions and actually carry through with what the consequences of their actions are, they tend to respect you and love you more. The goal is respect, not fear. Fear is what's going to cause them to not come to you when they are in trouble or when they are hurt or when they do need support. So we're going to try to move away from fear-based discipline and consequences and more towards respect and love. That's the goal.
That's going to be a tough sell for a lot of people. Every time we talk about corporal punishment here, people get very worked up. But any tips on how to do that and feel that you are getting the message across that you need to change your behavior?
Absolutely. I would say start early. The earlier you start, the better it is to be able to shape your child's behavior and what you want. And also keep in mind that children, they're not just small adults. They're actually children. So they're brand new to this world. They have to learn everything the same way you had to learn everything. So keep in mind that it's important that you have to teach them. So you have to teach them how to behave, how to regulate their emotions, how to speak, how to eat, how to walk. You have to teach them literally everything. Don't forget that when it comes to higher level thinking and expressing themselves. So try your best to, learn for yourself to begin and then communicate that to them. Teach them how to want to see.
Yeah. So I was just watching a piece a few days ago about how different this world is compared to just a few years ago. And you used to, if you had a problem in school, you come home and it'd be a safe place. But it doesn't end there now with social media and the bullying that continues. And so many young people have the suicidal thoughts now. That's always been the case, but probably more than ever before.
I think we're being able to see it a lot more now.
Yeah. Let's talk about that and how bad it is and what we can do about it.
Sure. So I'll be honest, especially considering the adolescent age range, that's when children are developing themselves and a lot of hormones get into the mix. And a lot of kids tend to experience, and that's normal for the age category that they're in. For the time in their life, that's normal to have those fluctuating feelings and feelings of some depression, some anxiety. Speaking of children, for the children, if you do feel like this, please reach out to somebody older, somebody who you trust that can assist you and guide you through managing and navigating those feelings. And for parents and other adults who are in children's lives, if you notice that a child is feeling these depressive symptoms or anxious symptoms, or they express to you that they feel like they want to hurt themselves or maybe even somebody else, I want you to help them regulate. But if you do feel like you are out of your depth with that, please reach out to us at the Community Counseling and Assessment Center. That's CCAC on Collins Avenue, or even the Child and Adolescent Unit at SRC at Sandilands for guidance. Because when children tend to express trauma that they've been through or these really, really devastating feelings, sometimes you might be out of your depth in being able to manage that. If that is the case, please do not be afraid to ask for help. Children and adolescents, do not be afraid to ask for help. Nobody should be afraid to ask for help. We're here for that exact reason, to help you.
Yeah. And what child is the bully, is the problem? And what if they learned it from you? But no, but what do you do if you find out that your child is causing stress for other children?
In all honesty, I have two, and I hope I remember them both, but let's start with the first one. So if you find out that your child is the bully, honestly, I think you need to take a look inward and at yourself, because there's something going on in that child's life that is causing them to act out and to hurt others. So as the primary caregiver, as the parent, it might be you. So it's important to understand if you are communicating with your child properly, if you are ensure that you're not neglecting them, that they have the emotional capacity to express themselves. So first, take an inward look, see how best you can connect with your child. It more than likely is your fault. No, I'm sorry. But no, it's more than likely a disconnect with the child and their primary caregiver. And then the second part of that is actually apply the consequence. So bad behavior or maladaptive behavior or disruptive behavior even, you have to apply a fair consequence to that action in order to decrease the likelihood that it'll happen again. So, and remember I said fair consequence. So whether that's you ground them, you take away their electronics, you tell them they can't have certain things, that's fine. So one, take an inward look, and then two, apply an appropriate consequence to that bad behavior.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely. All right.
Well,
so,
what about, if
Chester?
I could ask, what about homes where the kids have to split their time between parents and advice for them?
So, good point. And I want parents to know that children who have to split their time, that in and of itself is a very difficult, sometimes traumatic experience for children, no matter their age. And so allowing them to express their feelings about that situation in particular is very helpful emotions. And also, the second thing, for parents who have to split custody of their children, it's best to be on the same page with everything, with how you reward positive behavior, with how you address and punish bad behavior. You have to be on the same page, because if the child is with mom, and at mom's house, they can do whatever they want. They can come in when they want, go out when they want. But at dad's house, they have a curfew at 9. They have to be at dinner at a certain time. That causes a rift in how you both parent. And at the end of the day, the child is going to take that and run with it. And now parents are fighting. Wow. So be on the same page with everything, how you parent your child, how you discipline your child, how you communicate with your child, and how you love your child.
But what if you don't like to talk to baby mama
Too
or
bad.
baby daddy?
Too bad.
Oh.
Get it together. We're all adults here. Let's do effective communication skills. We could practice techniques. Even if it's for the child, even if you hate that person with all your heart, you have to put that aside because you brought a life into this world. Wow. You have to be responsible adults. Your feelings at that point does not matter. You have a child in the midst. So I know it's difficult. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean to be harsh. I know it's difficult, and I know sometimes it's easier. It's easier said than done. Mm-hmm. However, keep in the back of your head the purpose, the most important part of this: your child. Yeah. And that fighting will definitely influence how your child grows up to be an adult. So be very careful.
Absolutely. This text here, oh boy. In many cases, women, particularly mothers, are often the primary caregivers and thus have more opportunities to be involved in child abuse situations. Can your guest explain why women seem to be more violent towards children? Well, first of all, is that accurate?
No.
But of course it happens.
Yes.
But we got a problem with violence, whether it's the father or mother or anybody with children.
So we can take gender out of it and probably say the primary caregiver. And some adults tend to be abusive towards children. That is definitely true. Mm-hmm. And so they're asking, why is that the case? Why are adults abusive towards children? So the same thing that I said earlier is important to be able to look within yourself and understand why you're not able to regulate your emotions properly, but expect a child to be able to regulate their emotions properly. Yeah. So adults that abuse children usually aren't able to express themselves and communicate themselves effectively, and so they use violence as a way to express their emotions. If you're able to take and really calm yourself enough to communicate about use cases in the Bahamas. So I recommend that everyone, not just women, not just men, not just mothers, not just fathers, every adult do some work, do some introspection and inside work to be able to manage and navigate your emotions effectively so that you can teach our children, adolescents, how to do the same.
Yeah. And Texter, if it appears to you that that's the case, it's probably more to do with the number of single family homes we have. Maybe.
I honestly can't say definitively what the statistic is and how to address it, but if it does seem so, it's probably what your perspective is and what you're privy to, so what you see happening. And that's fine, that's okay, but my suggestion would be to do some extensive research and actually get the correct numbers so that we're able to discuss from a place of fact rather than assumptions.
Yeah. So, Crystal, it's very clear we have a lot of issues that we're dealing with here. This is a great choice this year for Miracle Treat Day. Remind folks what exactly is happening and how we can help with the...
Yes, definitely. So, Miracle Treat Day is Dairy Queen's fundraising initiative to assist children that are battling various diseases and illness, such as mental health, which is our recipient this year. So therefore, come to Dairy Queen, support Miracle Treat Day, purchase a blizzard, purchase a coupon, and every purchase $2 goes towards the child and adolescent unit at the Sandlands Rehabilitation Center so that we could help them to help the kids have, better lives or coping mechanism as they go forth.
All right, so this is going to be all locations?
So this is all locations. We have 7 locations in Nassau. We have Harbor Bay, Mall at Marathon, Southwest Plaza, Cable Beach, Seagraves, BCA Chilton, that's the downtown, and our newest location, that's Carmichael West. So today, all roads just go to Dairy Queen. They lead to Dairy Queen. Come into Dairy Queen and come and help make miracles happen. So you heard from Miss Ingram. You know, that's a great initiative. You see the problem that is there. Come and help. It's supporting a great cause with Miracle Treat Day.
So you have to buy specific things for the donation to be made, or?
Yes, it's only specifically for coming into Dairy Queen regularly today to get a treat. You can still get the other treat if you want. But I'm encouraging everybody to come into Dairy Queen and purchase blizzards. So it's on blizzards. We have 4 sizes. You get mini, and that's only $5.50. You can also purchase coupons as well, too. And so we encourage corporate Bahamas as well to purchase the coupons in bulk, incentivize your staff. You could also pre-order your blizzards, have a blizzard party at lunch in the office today.
Hey, that sounds fun.
While at the same time making miracles happen. So the coupons is for a small size blizzard treat for only $6.85. And then you come in and we're open from 11 a.m. for most locations until 10 p.m. tonight. So all day we're just serving up blizzards to help make miracle happen here at the Sandlands Rehabilitation Center with the Child and Adolescence Unit.
Amazing. So can you make a donation?
Yes, we accept donations
Okay.
separately. We have been accepting donations, and we do, thank persons. And we say thank you to corporate Bahamas as well, too, because we have a lot of persons who have purchased coupons for their organizations, and they made donations because they didn't have, no one to give the coupons to. So donations are accepted, and we thank you.
Wonderful stuff. One more time, remind people what's happening today.
Today, August 8th, is Miracle Treat Day at all of Dairy Queen locations. So today, come to Dairy Queen, purchase a blizzard, purchase coupons, and every purchase of a blizzard and coupon, $2 will go towards the deserving recipients of the Child and Adolescence Units at the Sandals Rehabilitation Center.
Wonderful stuff.
Thank you,
Wonderful
Ms.
stuff.
Campbell. And I just want to note that members of our team will actually be at various Dairy Queen locations today, starting from 12. So if you want to come down, tell us hello, give us a chat, ask questions, or see me turn a blizzard upside down.
Yes. That's always the fun part.
I know, right? Please come on out and visit us. We'll be ready and waiting to act out.
Okay, wonderful stuff. Aaron Ingram, thank you so much for being here this
pleasure.
morning.
Thank you so much
And
for
of course,
having me.
Crystal Campbell, thank you very much for including us in all of this. This has been great.
Thank you for having us. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody purchasing blizzards.
Hey.
It's going to be a blizzard day in the Bahamas.
Yeah, this is going to be good weather for Blizzard, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break for news and be back with business in just a bit. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Forgot I had a choice. I let you push me past the breaking point. I stood for nothing, so I fell for everything. You held me down, but I got up. Already brushing off the dust. You hear my voice, you hear that sound, like thunder gonna shake the ground. You held me down, but I got up. Get ready, 'cause I've had enough. I see it all, I see it now. I got the eye of the tiger, the fighter, dancing through the fire, 'cause I am the champion. Wanna hear me roar louder than a lion, 'cause I am the champion, and you're gonna hear me roar.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, August 8th, 2024. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards today. And this morning, we are talking about the 4-day work week. It has become a hot topic again. Every couple of years it comes up and fades away. But at a summit recently, the Ministry of Labor said that it would be open to discussing this more. And since then, there have been many comments from many different sectors about this. And this morning, we're going to have a conversation about it. We're going to talk with the chair of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, Timothy Ingram. Tim Ingram joining us this morning. Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us as always.
Good morning, Dwight. Thanks for having me. It's always good to be here.
All right, so we had a show a couple years ago, and everybody was here. We had someone from the Department of Labor, we had somebody from the Chamber of Commerce, and we had a union representative on, and talking about this and the pros and the cons of a 4-day work week. And obviously, there was we're not all on the same page when it comes to this. But let's get the latest perspective from the Chamber of Commerce on this. And we have a whole lot of questions for you. But let's hear, at this point, where does the Chamber stand on a 4-day work week concept?
The Chamber, first of all, is not opposed to a 4-day work week concept, number one. Number two, it will be up to each business to decide whether or not that is appropriate for them. And number three, as we said in the press release, people always see the headline, but as we said in the press release, we need some research to before we move forward. And in fact, if you go and look at the studies which have been done online, the papers which have been published on this, they all say that you should do your research prior to. One of the first things we need to do is define what is a 4-day work week, because it doesn't necessarily mean the same thing to everyone.
Right.
And I noticed the hotels, for instance, say for their purposes, a 4-day work week is you work 4 days, but you may work 10 hours a day to make the same 40 hours. And so that's a 4-day work week. In France, that's the way it was done in France. At some point, they ran across the concern which the hotels have expressed that because of labor laws, they had to pay persons overtime after the 8 hours. And so their cost of business shot up quite dramatically. And so what then happened was businesses had to raise prices. And now you had another problem. And so, we have to look at these real life timing. If you're a single person and you're working 4 days a week and you're working 10 hours a day, if you have kids, is that ideal? A lot of persons, when they finish their 8-hour shift, go home to deal with their kids, to fix dinner, to make sure the kids aren't roaming the streets. So now if you shift to 10 hours, are you exacerbating that problem? For some people, no, it's fine. Some people don't mind working 10 hours. Some people after 6-7 hours can't really focus. And if it's a really physical job, then that becomes a problem. And then you have what I call the true 4-day work week, where persons work 32 hours a week rather than 40 hours a week. And so what happens then, and this is the way it was done, I think it was 67 companies in the UK did this, participated in the study. And this is a study that's been going on globally. One of the universities, the leading universities in the US, has been leading it globally. And so in the UK, they went to a real you have a day off. Most of the businesses that participated were not customer service businesses, i.e., they were not dealing with people walking into their offices. So if you have a programming, persons doing computer programming, persons doing architecture, persons doing advertising, they were a bit more flexible in their time. But what they all committed to was to do 100% of the work in those 4 days. And so they were able to measure productivity, and they were able to demonstrate that, yes, we can do 5 days worth of work in 4 days. How did they do that? well, they shortened lunch hours. They had rules that meetings don't go on more than half an hour. They set aside dedicated times to check emails so then they can focus on their other work. And they looked at the business and they looked at other ways that they can gain time for their employees so that they can do the same 40 hours of work, but do it in 32 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, there was scientific research around all of this and looking at it. So, what we're saying is before we move forward, we just can't jump into it. We have to look at it. We're not opposed to it. Businesses will have to decide. If you're a hospital and you work 24/7 and you need a certain number of nurses on at all times, it might be a little challenging for you to schedule because now you have to bring more nurses on. And I'm working 6 days a week. And now my employees are cutting back to a 4-day work week. I'm probably going to have to hire more people to cover that.
Right.
And so, it's now some offices, I work in an office where we're pretty much a back office. We don't have customers coming in the office. So at the moment, my staff work from home 2 to 3 days a week. At the moment, there are people who have said, well, I'd like to look at the 3 or 4 day work week. It will come with a reduction in salary necessarily. And so that then becomes the issue as well. If we reduce it to 4 days and your employer says, well, I have to reduce your salary, can you work with that? So there are a lot of things that need to be discussed about this. There are a lot different things. It's going to look different ways for different businesses. If you, if you say to your boss, listen, boss, I only want to work 4 days. You need to find somebody else to do Mondays. He's probably going to have to hire someone else to do. And so now it's a greater cost to him, and now my advertising cost is going to go up. And so, not that it shouldn't, but all I'm saying is we have to think about these things.
Right.
In Iceland, the last point, in Iceland, they didn't so much go to the 4-day work week. What they did was try to look at ways to give persons flexibility to have better quality of life. So if you have an office where you're not customer facing, you don't need persons to be there for customers necessarily. Or even if you do, you schedule your staff so that maybe those who have kids and need to leave at 3 o'clock could go home, deal with the kids at 3 o'clock, and then they log back on for a couple of hours after they're done settling the kids and get their work completed that way. And that way, they still have the, quality time with the kids. They're not tied to the desks for 8 hours, and the quality of life has improved. So there needs to be research. We don't oppose it at all. Some businesses are doing. One of our directors, his firm is totally virtual. He doesn't have an office, and the staff work at their pace, and it's provided they meet their deadlines and get their things done.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that matters.
Right. All right. So we can assume, based on what you're saying, that you're, as you said, it's up to companies to decide, and that there doesn't necessarily need to be any legislation, I take it, to mandate this or require this.
So in some cases, there may be legislation which requires it. I believe that certainly in terms of the hotels, for instance, if a person works more than 8 hours, then they have to be paid overtime. And so that then means that the hotel's costs are going up. What they were looking at doing in France, I don't know if it got through, was to change the law so that if someone opted to work 4 10-hour days, the company didn't have to pay them overtime. They just had to pay them their regular salary for that week. And so I think there might have to be some changes to some laws, to some labor agreements to accommodate this. But during the pandemic, we went into work from home mode, and some of us have stayed in that to a great extent. In some more developed countries, we've seen offices demanding that the people come back to the office for various reasons. But some companies here, the accounting firms, for instance, as far as I'm aware, they work primarily remotely. If you go into the office, you actually have to book a desk, or you might get into the office and there's no desk available for you.
Mm-hmm. Now, the government has said that they're open to discussions, but are we even considering what this would mean if the government were to move, the ramifications there? would that mean 3-day weekends all the time, or will it be like you mentioned before? Some people will work Monday through Thursday, but others would work Tuesday through Friday. What are we thinking here?
Again, the government's going to have to look at where this can and can't work. So I think someone mentioned that some customs officers may already be on a 4-day work week where they're working longer than 8 hours in exchange for having that extra day off. So there might be some departments of the government that work well and can get it done. But then again, there might be some, if you are dealing with a particular government department and you've been waiting an extraordinarily to get your documents completed, then you're not going to be happy that they cut that department's work week back to 4 days. Again, as I said in some of the studies, efficiency was critical. One of the things we have a problem with in this country is productivity. Mm-hmm. In fact, a few years ago, there was a productivity commission formed to explore ways to improve the productivity in our country. And so if the key becomes, can you get the work that needs to be done pushed out in the period of time that you're suggesting that you're going to cut back to? Mm-hmm. And that's what it boils down to.
Yeah. Now, I've seen some studies where they say that people actually got more work done in the longer days that they had, but for the 4 days. Do you think that is possible? I know we don't have the studies, but would we have weeks like this one where there are 4? Do you think that's the case in most offices, that people are getting more done in weeks like this than in 5-day weeks?
I would like to think so, Dwight, but I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical that is the case at the moment. We need to, and this is where having data becomes important, right? This is where measuring productivity across various sectors becomes important to see, well, how much are we getting done? A few years ago, there was someone from one of the banks spoke out and said, well, they were in a few Caribbean territories, and the Bahamas' productivity was the lowest of those territories.
Oh, wow.
And so that's why we see jobs moving to bank jobs, for instance, moving to other territories. And so it's something that we need to deal with. And as you said, I'd like to think that this week we get 5 days of work done in the 4 days. There's nothing to measure that, so I can't say whether or not we do. Mm-hmm. But those are the things that we have to look at before we do it. As I say, some companies are doing it. There are some persons who are already working 4 days a week, and it's working for them because they go in, they sit at their desk, and they get the work done that needs to get done.
Yeah.
As I say, if you're an architect and you can get all your work done in 4 days and have 3 days off, and many other businesses now, client-facing businesses, they can still do it, but it's going to be a bit more of a challenge, making sure they manage time. Some might find that they need to bring on extra people to deal with it, because you don't want to walk into a fast food restaurant and it's slower than it was the day before because they have a few people on the 4-day work week.
Yeah, and then I can imagine that, as you mentioned, not every industry can do this. What would happen with us in broadcasting? Would people expect only Monday through Thursday shows, and Fridays would be like a weekend or something? How would that? Yep. Would be bizarre.
It would be, yeah, but I guess it happens. The Guardian, that there are maybe the Guardian plugs in a syndicated show on. They realize not a lot of people are listening to Dwight on a Tuesday morning, so they plug in a syndicated show on a Tuesday morning, and Dwight could have an extra day off.
Oh, okay.
To go enjoy life.
Maybe.
And so those kinds of things are the way you'd have to work. But and the other thing is, work from home, I think, has been something that's helped him improve the quality of life for a lot of persons.
Yeah.
I'm more of a night person, so if I need to get stuff done, I will stay up until 1 or 2 in the morning to get it done. I have friends who are morning people who will get up at 4 and 5 a.m. to get stuff done. And so if you have the flexibility, if you're working from home, you can decide, well, I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. and start my work. At 10 o'clock, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to have a relaxed lunch, and then I'm going to get back to work. And your quality of life has improved. Or you schedule it around your kids or something. when they go to sleep, you sit down and you do a couple hours work. And so having those kinds of flexibility also can help to improve the quality of life without providing as much disruption sometimes as someone being totally not available for a full day. But as I said, we're not opposed to it. Every business will have to look at it and decide if it's something that will work for them.
Excellent point there. All right, so I want to invite some of our listeners to join the conversation and continue to send your text messages. We've been getting some of those already. 422-4796. And you can call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or toll free 242-300-5720. We're talking with Tim Ingram, the chair of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation. This texter says here, this lazy generation needs to get lost. Less days means more hours for me, and I'm not interested in this silly 4-day thing. I pray this never comes to fruition. Companies are saying things, but what are you hearing from employees? I know you talked about some craving the flexibility with hours, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they'd only be working 4 days. But what are we hearing from workers in the country?
Well, obviously, the Chamber of Commerce represents more employers rather than employees. Now, judging from the comments on social media, since this is since the news broke on this, I would say there's certainly a strong sentiment that we should just move forward with the 4-day work week. There are opposing sentiments that our productivity is not where it should be. What I would say that consistently in our surveys of our members, we do a labor survey with our members 2 or 3 times a year because we meet with the Ministry of Labor. And consistently, low productivity, persons not showing up to work on time, persons not showing up to work at all, persons disappearing in the middle of the day is something which is consistently reported by our members as an issue. As I say, productivity is an issue. So certainly from the employer's perspective, it's something that, as I say, some companies can do it. Some already have issues that the employees they have aren't being as productive as they need them to be. And so, it's a mixed bag. But I think most people would like to try it. There are actually 1 or 2 instances where people did it, and after, I think it was after 26 months, 50% of the people wanted to go back to a 5-day work week because they found that being home, running out of the office, worn out by that than they were by being in the office.
Okay.
And so, I guess if you have young kids at home, there are people who go into the office. It's a bit of a respite for them for a bit. So and the people like your texter who want to be at work 5 days a week, and so I think as time goes forward, we'll find flexibility. I saw the founder of LinkedIn last week. He feels that in about 10 years, the 9 to 5 work routine will be pretty much disappearing.
Yeah.
And so things are changing. One of my favorite episodes of Star Trek comes from the year 2300. And what had happened by then was that technology had advanced so much that it could do whatever you needed to do. You can go to the machine and tell it, give you a cup of coffee, and you got a cup of coffee. And so what was pointed out was that the machines were now doing all the work. People didn't have to work anymore. They were free to pursue their passions. And so that has to come. There are things like universal basic income, which will factor into those types of models if those things come to fruition.
Oh boy, that's a whole other show there, hey? But definitely fascinating stuff and scary in some regards. Let's take this call. I want to get back to productivity in just a bit, but let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hi, yes. Good morning. You're on.
Oh my goodness.
You are live on the air.
You're talking about the shock?
We're talking about 4-day work weeks, and whether on the direction we need to be going.
Oh, okay. No, I don't. I'll speak on something else.
Okay. Thanks a lot. All right. So you said it. What a colleague mentioned about the Bahamas. You mentioned some of the reasons why we're seeing low productivity here. Let's talk more about that. Why does that continue to be the reputation that so many people have and businesses have, and that the country has as, in general when it comes to workers? And what are we doing about it?
I think it's something we have to tackle from kids are young. And then, when you and I grew up, our parents instilled in us, get up and go to work. As a young man growing up, I had, after school, I'd take the lawnmower, go around and cut people's lawns to make money. That's what I did on Saturdays. I was expected to have summer jobs all summer. On Saturdays, we found some gainful employment, or our parents found something for us to do to keep us employed. And so you built a work ethic. I don't know that is happening nowadays. And that's what, as I say, a lot of our members complain about, that they employ a lot of people from school and they're just not performing as they should. So I think that there needs to be, in our schools, we need to teach what it means to have pride in your job, what it means to be productive, what it means for a person, what it means for a family. If you go into a job and you're working well and you're working out well, then you're probably going to get promoted and get paid more money, and other people outside that company see it and they come and offer you a job, and so the benefits are there. But we have to find ways to impress upon a lot of our younger people, especially, that the productivity is important. To go into work and sit down. I remember speaking with an expat who'd lived in several countries, and they said, you guys are very laid back, which he wasn't complaining about it, but he said, I go to some places. He worked in the UK, worked in other places in the Caribbean. He said people come in the morning, they say good morning, they go sit to their desk. They do their work at lunchtime, they get up, go to lunch for an hour, they come back. They said, here, you guys come in, you bring your breakfast, you sit down, you have breakfast. You go and sit in someone's office, or you go to someone's desk, and you talk, have the latest gossip for a half hour. He said, and you go get the kids from school, that's 2 hours gone. And he said, so, these are the kinds of things that bring down our productivity. We don't like to talk about it, and whenever someone brings it up, it usually the messenger usually gets attacked. But it's something that we have to deal with because I think it's costing us daily. We're not measuring the ways in which it's costing us, but I know that there was some studies started prior to the pandemic about some of this. I don't know what happened to them, but it's something that we as a country need to deal with.
Yeah. Wow. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
And to your guest. I love what the expat had to say about us. But let the expat know, we were the richest country in the hemisphere in the 80s. Now I think we're the third or fourth richest country in the hemisphere. So rich people tend to do some crazy things.
I don't know if we were the richest in the 80s.
Well, I mean, that's according to the World Bank and the IMF.
Which hemisphere are we talking about? The same one with the U.S. and Canada?
South Pole in the Americas.
Well,
I can bring you the documentation. Anyway.
Unless you mean per capita. I don't know how we could have been.
Per capita, yeah. That's what we use when we lend money, don't we?
Okay.
Yeah, but let's not get into those particulars. We're talking about this 4-day work week.
Mm-hmm.
Elephant in the room that no one has mentioned yet. Well, since I've been listening, how do you pay for it? You see, the establishment you work at pays for you by having XYZ. A place that sells hamburgers needs to sell the hamburgers. Now, are we going to hire more staff for the other days of the week? Because there's not 4 days in a week. There's 7. And some Bahamians feel like they have to work 8, 9 days a week. Are we going to pay the same salary or less for that work week? And of course, it's going to be the same, right? My question is, how is the establishment going to continue? Do they not sell hamburgers on the other days? Or do they have to now pay an extra day from the earnings? Will that cause the hamburger to be more expensive? And I'm picking on hamburger because we understand that model. So we should just go straight to UBI, which is great, but who pays for it? There's always a cost incurred, and we never talk about those things. And it's very sad that we don't have the other side, a business owner, in that room discussing the other side.
You might have.
I think you missed it.
You may have missed some of the early part of the conversation. Then, if you didn't hear me talk about the costs of this, if you didn't hear me talk about how this will increase costs for businesses, and so then prices will likely have to go up.
Right.
I gave the specific example of France, where they did it, where the cost of labor went up, and they had to raise their prices. So I missed that part, but it was a critical part of the comment I made that. When doing this, if you're a chicken shack, you might have to hire more people to fry the chicken if you're on a 4-day work week, and that means the cost of the chicken has to go up.
Yeah.
And so as a member as the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, I am representing business, and I think I made that quite clear that I'm representing business when Dwight asked me the employee perspective.
Yeah.
But certainly the cost of doing business, ease of doing business are two critical components that are not easy in this country, and certainly something like this wouldn't make it easy. That doesn't mean that some businesses shouldn't explore if it works for them or not.
Right. Yeah, I think you did make it very clear. This texter says here, most companies frown on workers who start work at 9 and leave at 5. Most of them already. Some companies even frown on you taking a lunch hour. So let's not even talk about demanding work and, weekend work and work during vacation. So I guess they're saying they don't see how this is going to work. But as you've mentioned, Tim Ingram, it's not going to be for everybody if they decide to go in this direction, and they'll really have to weigh the option.
Yeah, I mean, every company is going to have to look at it and decide, can I do this? I have a couple of friends. One owns a construction company. One owns a landscaping company. And there's direct impacts there. So if you have a construction team of 10 and you have to give everybody a 4-day work week, that means projects are not going to be done as quickly as they should. Mm-hmm. And to now keep up with that, you're probably going to have to employ more persons, and you're looking at increased costs for that. So construction company, a small to medium construction company may decide, well, we really can't do it that way, but we'll try to find some other way to assist our guys. But then if you are an advertising company, if you are an architectural firm, if you are a computer programming firm that does a lot of programming and software development, it's super easy for you to do it. You can probably do it tomorrow because you have ways to measure the productivity, and your guys can get the stuff done in 4 days. They don't have to service a customer. They don't have to be sitting there waiting for a customer to come in to service them. Mm. We complain about service in a lot of places that we go into. And so if we don't want service to suffer in a 4-day economy, businesses will have to employ more persons. That's the reality.
And I'm just thinking about it now. On a week like this, when we had a holiday, does that mean that you'd have a 3-day work week for you?
Yeah. So these are the questions that need to be answered. All of these are things because a lot of holidays happen on a Monday or Friday, mm-hmm. And so if you go through the year, there's probably 5 or 6 weeks already where there's a 3-day work weekend because there's a 4-day work week because of a holiday,
right,
during that week, and so what we're saying is there needs to be studies. Businesses, there are some businesses who can probably go into it now without any issues. There's some who will need to look at it closely and sit and think about it and decide how it can work for them. They will. I'm sorry, I have 3 staff. I'm a small store on Carmichael Road. I can't afford to give somebody a 4-day work week.
Mm-hmm. We're running out of time, but let's take this final call here. Good morning, you're on Morning Blend Business.
Well, good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you again.
Hi.
Yeah, listen, there's some legal implications, that will take place if we go to this 4-day work week. While I support, to some extent, especially in the public service, where they don't cater to the general public. Person not having to be present in the workplace for 5 days. There's a lot of stuff civil servants do at home via computer or internet that can be properly monitored. If we could just get this slave mentality out of our head that because your name boss.
You're breaking up there, John. I don't know what's happening. Are you still there?
Hello?
Okay, you're back now. We're hearing you earlier. Yes, continue.
Okay, so what I was saying as it relates to the 4-day work week. In law right now, as it relates to the Employment Act, if somebody is to be terminated or is to have to be receive severance pay, and it's based on their last salary.
Something's going on there, John. We're not hearing you, but I guess okay.
Hello.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
It's been very, very spotty. All right, I think we're not going to be able to do that one, John. But I hear you. The things to think about, legal issues as well, Tim Ingram. So we've got a long way to go if we ever get to this point. But definitely good to be thinking about it.
And what I'd say to especially to younger people who are keen to have a 4-day work week is look around at companies around you and see who may be doing it or who may be open to it. One of the suggestions online was that if you are looking to do things like this, make sure you're efficient, make sure your boss is confident that you'll get your work done before you approach him to say, I want to do this. Now, if you're a great employee and he knows you're going to get the work done and he doesn't want to lose you, then chances are he'll be flexible and say, okay, or he or she will be flexible and say, okay, let's try it at least for a while.
Yeah. All right. So I'm sure we'll have more conversations on this, but Timothy Ingram with the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dwight.
All right, let's take a break, and we'll be back with our final few minutes of the show today. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
In 2023, over 9 million visitors came to the Bahamas. This year, we plan on shattering that record. That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Paradise is not only found in Nassau, but throughout our 16-island destination.
No matter who you are or what you do, we all have a part to play in our tourism industry.
This is our country.
These are our islands.
This is our home.
Everyone's business.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Now let me see now. 326 EPIC. Hello. This Epic battery. This Miss Beulah from around the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326-EPIC. We ship also to the Family Islands.
When you think of automobile replacement parts, superior lubricants, and accessories and chemicals of all kinds, still think Bay Street Garage Limited. For almost a century, we've been synonymous with wholesale and retail sales, free delivery to the boats for our Family Island customers, and for alternator and starter repair. Bay Street Garage Limited, BSG. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays.
It is time for your business report. Morning Business Report brought to you by CFAL. Following the release of a statement from the Grand Bahama Power Company stating that it has asked the Grand Bahama Port Authority to authorize a rate increase, IRCA, the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority, saying that it does not recognize the GBPA's authority to authorize rate increases in the Bahamas, explaining that the GBPC has not applied to IRCA for any such increase. IRCA says that given its authority in law as regulator of power production companies throughout the Bahamas, it's prepared to take action against any entity attempting to defy the law. Both GBPA and IRCA have tussled for position of regulator over the electricity rate increase, and after the amendments made to the Electricity Act, additionally, Shadow Minister of Finance and Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama, Kwesi Thompson, urged stakeholders to reject the request from the Grand Bahama Power Company. Government fully removed the GBPA from Bahamas statutory law this year when it passed the new Electricity Act. You can read more about that in today's Guardian business section. Guided by the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration of the U.S., in its International Aviation Safety Assessment Program audit done in October 2023, Tourism, Investments and Aviation Minister Chester Cooper confirming this in a statement, explaining that the evidence submitted by the FAA by the Civil Aviation Authority of Bahamas ahead of the July 31st, 2024 deadline assured the U.S. Aviation Authority that none of the open issues found in the audit report remained unresolved. Cooper saying that the audit was a critical assessment of the Civil Aviation Authority, taking into consideration the country's compliance with the international safety standards set by the International Civil Aviation Organization, known as ICAO. Rosewood Hotels and Resorts announcing that it has partnered with Miami-based Integra Group to develop a boutique ultra-luxury resort on East Sampson Key in the Exumas. Rosewood, which already has a presence here at the Bahama Resort, saying that Rosewood Exuma will fuse luxury with adventure. Said, quote, imagined in partnership with the Integra Group, a Miami-based private investment company, the new development will advance Rosewood's evolution as a global leader in luxury lifestyle, along with the Integra's long-term strategic vision of unlocking unrealized investment and economic potential of the Exumas region. It said that it will be situated on a 124-acre private island referred to as East Sampson Key within the Exumas, and that Rosewood Exuma will comprise just 33 suites, all offering dramatic views of the island's pink and white sands and turquoise waters. Read more on that in today's Guardian business section. And Bahamian Contractors Association President Leonard Sands heading out at the inadequacy of the procurement process for government contracts. He wants more information on works that are scheduled. Sands telling Guardian Business that the old Bahamas Development Bank building on West Bay Street has new fencing set up around it, giving the appearance of construction set to take place, but none of its members were made aware of the nature of the works to be done and who has the contract. Further arguing that the government's new procurement system doesn't go far enough with telling anyone using it what will be put to be bid on ahead of time. He says they need to know more about what the proposed structure is going to be moving forward. Overseas, a new chief executive takes over at Boeing today, and he plans to walk the floor of the factory near Seattle that has become the heart of the aerospace giant's troubles. Robert Kelly Ortberg takes over the money-losing company that has agreed to plead guilty to conspiracy to commit fraud and is struggling to fix its aircraft manufacturing process and can't bring 2 astronauts home from the International Space Station because of flaws in a space for NASA. Ortberg telling employees on his first day of the job that he's excited to dig in. Boeing announced his selection just over a week ago on the same day that it posted another huge loss, more than $1.4 billion in the second quarter, which was marked by a steep drop in deliveries of new airplanes, including the MAX 737. The National Transportation Safety Board of the U.S. just wrapped up a 2-day hearing on the 737 MAX that suffered a blowout of a panel in the side of the plane during an Alaska Airlines flight in January. The board's investigators have interviewed workers at the 737 factory who say they are under too much pressure to produce planes quickly, leading to mistakes. And Eli Lilly blew past second quarter expectations with the diabetes treatment Mounjaro and its weight loss counterpart Zepbound funneling more than $4 billion in sales to the drug maker. Lilly also hiked its forecast for the year well beyond Wall Street expectations as newer drugs like Zepbound build momentum. The company's shares soared before markets opened today after Lilly detailed its quarterly results. Mounjaro sales more than tripled in the quarter to nearly $3.1 billion. Zepbound, which is made from the same molecule, brought in $1.2 billion 2 quarters after regulators approved the drug. Supply problems that hampered access earlier this year also appear to be improving. Lilly noted that all of doses of Zepbound are currently listed as available on a U.S. regulator website that details drug shortages. Meanwhile, sales of the breast cancer treatment Verzenio also 4% to $1.3 billion. Closer to home in your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Wednesday. Your market movers: Consolidated Water down 3 cents, closing at $5.34. Emira Incorporated down 8 cents, closing at $8.76. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,939.04, down 0.11. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And that is going to do it for us today. I want to thank